This is Oscar Uniform 6-1. I've got two individuals currently caught in the camera outside of the little store next to the red car garage. Can I get any additionals, please?
Delta 235, on my way.
Lovely. It's best to be a ginger woman and another male. Both IC1.
Rachie Brody, most likely.
Yeah, I caught these two the other day as well. They're doing it yet again. It's about to cut off in a second.
Stand 31, I'm set 6.
Yep, there we go.
Boxman on the front, mate. Just rammed the police car. Pursuit's going to be moving to Freak 2 for pursuit. Last Tango 3 with Freak vehicle making off, now heading eastbound for Vespucci Boulevard, risk going to be low at this moment in time. Suitable driver, suitable vehicle, can we get dogs and then pass towards if possible, please? Vehicle comes back to wait. Rachie Brody, continue eastbound now on Vespucci Boulevard, approaching Legion Square now. And straight on at Legion Square. Oh, they've had an issue there.
Behind you.
They've taken it left now, northbound now on Strawberry Avenue. FTS is accurate, still northbound on Strawberry Avenue for another red is, yes. The northbound approaching lower pillbox at this moment in time.
Clear, away.
Make sure you give plenty of room to this vehicle, it does appear to be head issue all over the place. It's now on the Los Santos freeway northbound.
What's the purpose of this pursuit?
I'm sorry?
The purpose of this pursuit?
Cutting cameras. And they've since rammed the police vehicle.
Okay.
And they're now flipping me off out the window. Northbound now, Los Santos freeway at this moment. Now speed is 7.5 and the supposed 7.0. Risk is going to be low at this moment in time. Still northbound now, Los Santos freeway, approaching the casino exit. Stand by.
Letting you know, it was the Afro fellow that was caught in the camera.
Received it. Off at the casino. Off at the casino now. And it's approaching the junction straight over. Rejoining the Los Santos freeway now. How many TPAC units do I have with me?
I'm going to want about TPAC behind.
Opposite lanes of travel.
Let's see, vehicle still northbound now, Los Santos freeway. So currently northbound now, risk is going to continue to be low. Just approaching past the turn off for the RPU entry course. Still northbound now they're on the hard shoulder, risk going to medium model on hard shoulder, now back to slow. They're taking the off slim to join the Nora freeway, Palomino freeway. It's going to be southbound on the Palomino freeway. FGS is accurate. Going the freeway now, so southbound. Vehicle is all over the road. Both hazard lights are indicated on the vehicle also. And we're off at the next entrance. We're going to be going in the general direction of the evidence burner place. Now heading eastbound now, Palomino freeway. It's going to be hard braking, followed by a reset. Apologies. Tango 3-1, I'm going to shoot TACAD for this. I'm going to authorise TPAC whilst they're on the motorway. Actual contact is not authorised, however. Tango 3-1, we're now heading northbound on the Palomino freeway. FTS is accurate, continuing northbound at this moment in time. Approaching the junction, we'll be joining the Los Santos freeway, Sonora freeway, heading northbound, roughly in the direction of Sandy Shores. Injury Charles, that vehicle ramming you? Is that vehicle intentionally ramming you at the front, mate?
No. Doesn't know what a brake pedal is, shit driving it. If it does ram us, then I'll authorise tactics on it, so hopefully it doesn't.
Received. Still heading northbound now on the Sonora freeway.
For a reset, it's saying about turning around.
They're now wrong way, southbound Sonora freeway. Risk is going to be high at this moment in time due to the wrong way of travel. And we're back over to the right side now southbound Sonora freeway. Risk back down to low due to the speed and the conditions. Still southbound now at this moment in time. Vehicle is all over the road. So risk is going to medium due to the recklessness of their drive. And they're back to maintaining lane conditions, so I'm going to drop back down to low against the southbound now Sonora freeway. FTS is accurate at this moment in time. They're still all over the road.
Yeah, I'm just trying to bring the speed down a bit.
Received.
We not got anyone that can go ahead of this thing? Or?
Unmarked vehicle.
Let me know if it commits on. Yeah, let me know if it commits on.
Received.
I'll make it commit on. I'll make it commit on. I'll go and I'll block on the right hand side carriageway.
Good. Go ahead then. Still southbound now, Los Santos at this moment in time. I did hear them say on the radio that they're expecting a stinger.
One.
We're still southbound now.
Stinger on the right, he's gone left. Find your legs there, sir.
Let's see if they can, on the hard shoulder, risk is going to be down to low, still due to the risk, due to the manner of driving conditions. And we're still southbound now, we're committed on past the junction, now. Still southbound now, that's pinging the ANPR camera just there. Continue southbound at this moment in time. I'm
having a lot of head issues.
Yeah, I'm giving plenty of space just because of that. What's everyone's fuel like, guys?
I'm halfway, I've got plenty.
Received. Do you want to break on fuel up just in case, because this is going to be a protracted pursuit? And then rejoin.
Received.
He's obviously communicating with someone else. I don't know if he's going for a vehicle switch.
One thing we need to get ensure we're all fueled up.
They're all over the gaff, aren't they?
They are, yep. Still southbound now, Strawberry Avenue. I believe that was accidental on their part, so no tax will be authorised as a result of that.
I'll break off at Strawberry.
We'll see. Passing really straight small time. It's going to be a left Vespucci Boulevard in the direction of Mission Row Police Station. Still eastbound Vespucci Boulevard, passing Head Pop Bridge at this moment in time. Going over Head Pop Bridge, eastbound Vespucci Boulevard. Eastbound out through the red 88. It's going to be a right at the red 88. Southbound now Poplar Street. Southbound Poplar Street at this moment in time through red 88. It's going to be a left. The risk is going to be high due to the fact they've joined the freeway in the wrong direction. Going Olympic Freeway, wrong direction at this moment in time. Ladies and gentlemen, get in front of one other traffic, please. Thank you. Still committed on the on-ramp to the wrong side of the freeway. His intentional ram of the police vehicle. I'm going to authorise TC on this moment of time under 50 if the set off here. Let's box him in now.
Wait, no, I didn't mean that.
Out of the vehicle!
Oh, fucking it wants to go shouting at me.
No, stop hitting my van.
Out of the vehicle! Stick your hands up! Stick your hands up now!
Oh,
God, he's that angry.
oh.
Go on, Rachie, out of the vehicle, hands up!
What is this? Help!
Get out the vehicle.
What? Guys are?
Alright.
Got every full stopped on the lot.
It's over, don't even.
Temporarily boxing is now driving off again. Sustained quite heavy damage. I don't think it was an intentional ram.
We'll see, but the second one into
Correct
my
lane of
car
travel.
was. Hostile freeway. Tactics remains under 50. TC is authorised whilst on the freeway. Still heading westbound Olympic Freeway at this moment in time. FPS is accurate. Izzy, what's your fuel like, mate?
Doing just 25 in the Tyrant.
Receive.
I keep it on.
The vehicle is now westbound, heading southbound now, southbound.
Yeah.
See the description of the vehicle?
The black Tyrant supercar behind us.
Receive, that's the Delta Ranger, I believe. It's now southbound, Laporte Freeway at this moment in time, roughly in the direction of the airport. Still southbound now, a massive collision with a local vehicle.
We're not a local vehicle, man.
I would say it's intentional ramming, but they're just that shit at driving, gents, so no tactics.
Freeway is now turning around, approaching the large bridge on the Laporte Freeway as it heads eastbound. FPS is accurate, now heading eastbound the Laporte Freeway at this moment in time. Going over the bridge now, eastbound the Laporte Freeway. Speed is going to be 50 as far as 70. Risk is going to be low at this moment. Continuing eastbound now, we're just finishing the bridge now. And we're going between vehicles. This is going to be up to moderate and now back down to low as they fast traffic. Approaching the junction now, standby, and it's committed on, so continue eastbound now at the Legion Fields Freeway. FTS is accurate. Still eastbound now at Legion Fields Freeway. I am approaching, bring no fuel. There's another unit that can take lead.
I'm behind you, I can keep eyes if you want.
Let's see.
Busy's back.
Let's see, just make sure we give this vehicle plenty of room. Their head is a bit all over the place. So eastbound now, Legion Fields Freeway at this moment in time. However, 8 to the second bridge now. It's going to be 8 right. Now heading eastbound Alberto Boulevard.
Avian, I'll keep eyes on the vehicle if you want to dip off towards the fuel station.
Let's see that. I'll wait
Can't
for
do FTS or nothing, I'm fully UC.
I'll wait for another match unit to come. I've got about a quarter fuel left now.
Yeah, still good.
Let's see, we're still heading eastbound bound Alberto Boulevard.
Busy, it's going to be coming to the other side of the oil fields, the back part. It's on around the back of the oil fields, we're going to get Stinger sight down.
We've got a Stinger. Oh no, it's going around the back there.
On the back, if you go to the other side, you get Stingers down. It's a one-way road.
Scott Romeo 2, I'm going to stake fire to your location now. Try and set Stingers for you.
Let's see, this is continuing to be low at this moment in time. Traffic density is low, pedestrian traffic is nil, weather is dry. So
Committed on that top road.
Yes.
Committed.
Still heading northbound now. We're committed on this top road. Still heading along the top road now. So continue along the top road.
Let me know if it comes back down towards Maribunto.
Let's see, vehicle out.
Can you make sure the bike doesn't get too close because of me headache?
Out of the vehicle!
I'd appreciate that.
That vehicle's driving off again.
Don't let them get
Yeah, it's asking if the bike can stay back just because the headaches that they're having don't want to hit you off. It's coming down to you now, Busy.
Set spikes at the bottom of the road.
No, it's coming.
Road spikes, go right, go right, go right, go right, go right, go right. That's it, you're clear.
Was Spike successful or not?
Negative, you went on the dirt.
Received. Last Tango 3-1, I'm going to have to break off and go for fuel. Alpha Mike, you got to take primary, please.
Yes. Vehicle heading east. Continuation. About to take up. Collide with a local.
Oh!
I do believe vehicle is out. Yep, heavily smoking vehicle out.
Yeah, FTS please.
Vehicle now.
Oh, they grab your Stinger.
Pin 2 occupants. Gingerhead was the one in driving.
Both can be in cuffs.
Anyone else?
Come, Rachie. Right, moment of time, you're under dangerous driving, failed stop and police criminal damage. You do not have to say anything but in my defence if you do not mention when questioned some later in court. If you do say me, gross arrest, you're driving the vehicle in a dangerous manner, you cause criminal damage to police vehicles and roadside objects, and you failed to stop police. Assist arrest and prompt effective investigation. First, better disperse threat injury to others.
I indicated.
Does it make it not dangerous? We're searching out section 32 pairs. If you should know that, stick put me around me.
Can you say that one again? That was too quick.
We're searching under section 32 pace. Anything that's just stick, report me or harm me. Knives, sharps, firearms.
No, but can I request that you don't touch my shrimp?
Touch your shrimp? Why would I want to touch your shrimp?
Don't touch my shrimp.
Have you got any firearms on you, by the way? No. You're a man of driving.
Did you just ask if I had firearms?
Right, Rich.
Yeah.
Right, Rich, it's moment of time.
Firearms.
Rich, it's moment of time. You're further arrest for possession of Class A, Class B controlled substance, and cautious system missing.
What's wrong with the passenger?
Lock up, crim damage here, cut the camera.
It's 220, mate.
Okie dokie. Right, let's get you back to the police station. We'll have a proper chat there.
Shoes, oh my god. They're nice.
Go, you're driving.
Come on, miss, out of the car. Out the car!
We can have him, mate, we can have him.
Oh, my head's doing a madness.
Yeah, mine as well, mate. Oh my lord. Right, I think. There she is.
Alright.
Oh, I thought it was meant to be digged up there.
Talking to me?
I think that the car is going to last a lot longer, mate. We also don't have a lot of fuel, which is a bit concerning.
Ah, we'll be alright. Especially if she gets out. Yep.
Dig up.
Sorry about that. That's right, mate. That's we all got.
Oh, fucking
Jesus
Rachie.
Christ, what's going on there?
Stay where you are! Stay where you are!
Fuck off, dickhead! Fuck off!
I've got
I
cover.
don't have anything.
Get him!
Kenzo, put the fucking.
Don't you fucking dare, Kenzo, don't you?
Down, stay down.
Ow! Ow!
Getting assaulted by 3 people, need assistance.
He's my fucking
Rachie, stop it, you crazy.
Oh!
Go on, put her in cuffs.
Get away from him.
Oh!
Taser.
I know, yeah, I was just stood here asking where the Feel free to help out, police officer, don't you worry.
Oh, yeah, but I've just, okay.
Thank you. Right, let's get these all in the car.
Let go! Let go!
He's trying to bite off my finger.
Well,
Should I put him?
we'll stick him on the side here, out of the way, until we figure out what's going on with Arlo over there.
Let go!
She's bit my finger off.
She's bit your finger off.
Yeah, good. Good. Cunts. All of ya.
It's panic resolved now.
She's bit my finger off.
Right, Kenzo, what is going on?
What do you mean what's going on?
What's going on? Why you...
Nothing.
It's in my pocket if you need it.
What?
Your pocket. What the fuck?
Fucking hell.
Give me a minute. I'm gonna see where I can
I think we all.
Right.
Got camera on, so that's useful.
I've ordered food.
Fighting the demons. This case, just.
No, I got a kebab.
What do you mean he's bully? You ain't got You cannot tell if he's bully or not.
Alright.
It goes on to second statements. I don't.
Mr. Right, chap from Weasel News. Could you step forward, please?
You are a bunch of bullies, huh? Oh my goodness, Mr. Abu.
Yeah, mate, do you want to sit here? I'll move up for you.
This is my boo. Has it started already?
Mate, I'll
Right.
move up.
Could the gentleman from Weasel News please step forward?
Yes, Your Honor.
Group 6, could you assist?
What were we assisting with?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you seek permission to record in my courtroom? Take pictures in my courtroom?
I did not. I do apologize.
Alright.
Think about sit chair, bruv.
What is the betting odds?
All right, going forward.
Just the last lot.
Going forward, those wishing to record or live stream, and that specifically includes Weasel News, should be seeking permission from the presiding judge. These rules are clearly laid down in court, in their court procedures.
I do apologise, Your Honour.
All right. All right. Don't let it happen again. You have permission to record.
Thank you. Am I dismissed?
Yes.
Let you get the gate through.
All right. Hats off in court. Group 6, is that everyone? Understood.
Bubble jacket, you keep your wee hat off for us, mate.
For fuck's sake,
All right. You're all about ready to proceed then.
Don't
Defense, are you
encourage
here?
Yes, Your Honour.
Prosecution, are you hearing all your witnesses present?
Yes, Your Honour.
Very well. Very well, we'll just give it another minute, make sure everything's in order, and then we shall kick off. Right. Right, we are gathered here today for case CP1008. This is a prosecution, case of Crown versus Brodie. Judge Kasarian presiding. Representing the Crown, we have
Police Sergeant 135 in Sulla.
Thank you. Representing the defendant, we have
Shreya Patel, Ingram Legal.
Understood. So, the criminal charges alleged are Miss Brodie is accused of violating Section 2 of the Road Traffic Act 1988, specifically dangerous driving. Section 163(3) of the Road Traffic Act 1988, failure to stop for the police. Section 5, motor, possession Class A. Section 5(1), misuse of drugs, possession Class B. Section 1, criminal damage, destroying or damaging property. Defendant, how do you plead?
My client pleads guilty to all charges except for any charges related to dangerous driving.
Understood. Understood. So.
I know, but it's not arguable in court.
Understood. So with that in mind, so with that plea going, with that plea going forward, we shall, yes, with that plea going forward, we shall begin. Prosecution. Prosecution, you may begin. You may lay out your opening statement.
Apologies, Your Honour. I think you might. Apologies, Your Honour. I think you might have missed a couple of the charges from the charge sheet.
Right. I shall read the charges again. What I have in front of me. The details of criminal charges. Section 2 of the Road Traffic Act 1988, dangerous driving. Section 163(3), Road Traffic Act 1988, failure to stop for police. Section 5, misuse of drugs, and Section 5, misuse of drugs, and Section 1, criminal damage. These are the charges that are detailed on the indictment, on the criminal indictment.
I apologize. I think my ears must have gone a bit funny on one of those. That's all. That's fine.
Understood. Understood. And the defendant is pleading guilty to the drugs charge. Is pleading guilty to the drugs charges?
Yes, Your Honour.
And the criminal damage?
Yes, Your Honour. Guilty to all but the dangerous driving.
Understood. So, with that in mind, Mr. Solar, sorry, Sergeant Solar, if you could begin.
Good afternoon, Your Honour. So, the case today involves some quite serious charges arising from three events that occurred on three separate dates. Saturday the 8th of February 2025, Monday the 10th of February 2025, and Wednesday the 12th of February 2025. For the purpose of the same, I'm going to summarise the Crown's case for each of these dates individually. On Saturday the 8th of February 2025, officers of Los Santos Police Service responded to reports of two individuals who were tampering with speed and automatic number recognition cameras on Vespucci Boulevard. Upon arrival at the location, they witnessed the defendant, along with another individual later identified as Kenzo Lowry, at the location. Both the defendant and Lowry got into a black and green coloured Ponte van, with the defendant getting the offside, that being the driver's side of the vehicle. Sergeant Avian Solar and PC Connor Muffat conducted a reinforced stop on the vehicle. This is where two police cars attempted to stop the vehicle, one being in front and the other being behind, with emergency lights activated. It should have been obvious to any reasonable person that the vehicle was being stopped. Instead of remaining stationary, however, the defendant drove the van forwards into the unmarked police vehicle being driven by PC Muffat, causing damage to it. The defendant then continued to drive off. The pursuit was initiated, and during the pursuit, the defendant drove in a manner that falls well below the standard of a careful and competent driver, and it ought to be obvious to the defendant that the manner of driving was dangerous. The defendant and Miss Lowry were arrested and searched. The defendant was found to be in possession of 2 magnetic mushrooms, 1 lot of ketamine, 2 small containers of fentanyl, a bag of indica buds, a joint, a human finger, and some scissors. On Monday, the 10th of February 2025, officers of the Los Santos Police Service witnessed the defendant on Harwick Avenue get into a black sedan vehicle, vehicle registration number 46 Delta Tango Tango 868. This vehicle is not, nor at the time was registered to the defendant. The alarm of the vehicle was also going off. 2 officers in an unmarked police vehicle pulled up to the vehicle and clearly shouted, "Come on, miss, get out of the car," to which the defendant shouted, "Ah, shit, buck a duck," before driving off. The pursuit was begun where the defendant drove above the speed limit through red lights, and this led to a collision with a black and colour Sultan at the junction of Alta Street and Occupation Avenue. The defendant did shout an apology to the driver of the other vehicle, but then continued to drive off. No documents were exchanged between the driver of the other vehicle and the defendant. The defendant then collided with a white sign on the eastbound lane of Occupation Avenue, and this side did require replacing. The pursuit ended when the defendant got out of the vehicle and made off on foot. After a short foot pursuit, the defendant was arrested, searched, and found to be in possession of a human body. On the 12th of February 2025, the defendant, along with 2 other individuals, present at Harwick Avenue Pharmacy, where they were witnessed by members of Los Santos Police Service appearing to be committing a burglary. The defendant and the 2 others ran from the pharmacy, and when an officer gave chase, threats were made toward the officer, specifically threats towards PC Arlo Williams. PC Williams tackled the defendant, and having tackled her, 2 individuals began attacking him, one with a baseball bat. PC Williams was able to tase one of the attackers, however, the defendant also produced a bat and began attacking PC Williams, causing him to fall to the floor. Other units arrived at the location and started being attacked by the 2 others. While this was occurring, the defendant began chewing on PC Williams' fingers, causing him to lose 2 of them. The defendant was eventually arrested and found to be in possession of a human finger, a human head, human torso, human hand, a small amount of morphine, a joint, 36 grams of sativa bud, and 32 LSD tabs. The Crown intends to present compelling evidence that will demonstrate the defence actions on these dates were not only unlawful, but shocking in their brutality. We will show that Brodie's conduct on all three occasions was not just reckless and dangerous, but also violent and disturbing, involving serious criminal activity. We trust that by the end of the trial, the facts will be clear and that you will see that the charges of the defendant are substantiated by the evidence. Thank you.
Understood. And defence.
Your Honour, ladies and gentlemen of the court, we are here today to ensure that justice is served fairly based on evidence, not assumption. My client, Rachie Brody, is prepared to take responsibility where appropriate, but she will not accept exaggerated or misrepresented allegations. This case is not about avoiding accountability. It is about ensuring that the charges reflect the truth. While my client acknowledges past mistakes, we reject the claim that she poses a continued danger to society. The evidence will show that she has already taken major steps towards rehab and that some of the charges before us do not hold up under scrutiny. In the incident report regarding that 56119, the prosecution alleges that my client engaged in dangerous driving, but we contest this charge. The law is clear. Speeding alone does not inherently constitute careless or inconsiderate driving. However, when combined with additional violations such as running red lights or failing to stop at signs, it may meet the legal threshold. We acknowledge that my client ran red lights. However, her actions must be understood in the context of her mental state. She has stated in the official incident reporting that she was afraid of the officers pursuing her. Fear is a powerful motivator. It can cloud judgment and cause individuals to react instinctively rather than rationally. This is not an excuse, but it is an important factor that the court must consider. Her intent was not to act recklessly, but to flee a situation she perceived as threatening. The legal precedent makes it clear that dangerous driving requires more than just traffic violations. It requires a deliberate disregard for safety. We will demonstrate that while my client's actions were not perfect, they do not meet this legal threshold. The prosecution presents body-worn camera footage as key evidence in the case regarding incident 56182. While body cam footage can be a valuable tool, it is not infallible. Footage alone does not tell the full story. It must be analysed in context along witness testimony and intent. The court must consider: does the footage support every claim made by the prosecution? Does it account for my client's mental state and circumstance? Does it remove all reasonable doubt? Additionally, the prosecution is relying on multiple officer testimonies, including an officer who sustained an injury. While we do not dispute that an altercation took place, we question the details of how it unfolded. Pain does not prove guilt. Testimony must be weighed against the video evidence and not simply taken at face value. In this case, my client accepts responsibility for the charge of prevention. However, she contests all other charges under this incident. The evidence must clearly and beyond a reasonable doubt support each charge, and we do not believe it does. Since March 2nd, my client has been under strict supervision and has taken significant steps towards reform. She has committed to community service, cleaning and restoring local environments, secured employment, showing a dedicated, lawful and productive work, remained free of drugs and alcohol, a fact that will be confirmed by her supervisor, Chris Noble, who is present to testify. Regarding the community service, we have Ethan Walker as a witness. Even in the face of threats made against her and her supervisor, she has continued on the right path. She has proven her willingness to change, and that should be a major factor in any sentencing considerations. I urge the court to also consider that she has spent 9,000 months in remand. Justice is not about the harshest punishments possible. It is about ensuring that the law is applied fairly and accurately. My client does not deny all wrongdoing, but she does deny certain charges that overstate her intended actions. Today, Your Honor, I ask you to only, judge on what the evidence proves, not on assumptions, fear, or exaggerated claims. My client wants to move forward, not backward, and she has already taken the first steps to do so. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you both. All right. Sansola, you may bring forth your first piece of evidence or call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honour. For our first witness, I'd like to call Detective Constable Richard Grange to the stand, please.
Oh, that was Ola Williams, according to these guys.
Right.
Yep.
Hi, Mr. Grange. Hello, Detective Constable Grange. Thank you for joining us. Before we begin, you must be sworn in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may begin your questioning.
Good afternoon, DC Grange. Are you currently a member of the Los Santos Police Service?
I am.
And how long you've been a member of the Los Santos Police Service?
Approximately 5 months.
Okay, and you're currently a member of the Criminal Investigation Department, is that correct?
Correct.
And how long you've been a member of this?
Approximately a month.
Okay, and what does this job entail?
This job entails investigating crimes, big and small, and apprehending criminals when the evidence allows us to do so.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you now, just cast your mind back to the 10th of February 2025. Were you in that area of Harwick Avenue on that date?
I was.
Okay, will you tell me what happened, please?
So from memory, we attended, myself and another detective sergeant, I believe, attended an alarm at the Harwick pharmacy, beg your pardon, to which Miss Brodie was present. We then chased her in a vehicle for a short while, and then a foot pursuit ensued where she came to a stop halfway up a ladder, at which point she was talked down and then detained.
Okay, so talk about the vehicle. What sort of vehicle was it? Do you remember at all?
I don't, to be honest with you. From memory, it was a local vehicle, a black local vehicle, which from memory we watched her take from the local.
Okay. Talk to me about you said you chased her. Was this in a vehicle pursuit, a foot pursuit? How did you chase her?
Both. So we saw, myself and the detective sergeant went back to the pharmacy after we initially lost eyes on Miss Brodie, to look for any potential fingerprints or DNA left on the scene, to which we found none. And then we saw Miss Brodie taking the local vehicle, to which we then jumped back into our own vehicle and gave a small chase. She then decamped, and we saw her again, and then decamping our own vehicle and chasing her on foot.
Okay, so you say you saw her taking the local vehicle. What do you mean by that, please?
Well, forcefully dragging a local from their vehicle, and then proceeding to drive that vehicle.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the vehicle pursuit, shall we? How was her driving during the pursuit?
Poor, excessive speeds. You'll have to forgive me, I can't remember exactly, but I remember it being excessive speeds and reckless, to say the least.
Okay, why do you believe it was reckless?
Multiple red ATSs gone through. I don't remember any incorrect lane driving from my memory, but definitely excessive speeds.
Okay. As a member of the Los Santos Police Service, have you ever received any driver training or additional driving qualifications?
I have not, no.
No? Okay. During the pursuit, was there any collisions with any other vehicles or any roadside furniture?
Not from my memory, no.
No worries. Now let's talk about, obviously you said there was a foot pursuit after that, and she was talked down from the ladder, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, no worries. What happened after she was brought down from the ladder?
She was detained for the purposes of a stop and search, to which we found the items that I believe are present in your charge sheet.
Do you recall what those items are, or?
So from my memory, what sticks out mainly for me was the human body. I believe there may have been some other narcotics of varying numbers.
Okay. After this incident, do you have any further dealings with the defendant?
So Miss Brodie, after being found with the body and the various, was brought back to Mission Row, to which she was, a report and sentencing was going to be done as per the normal procedure. We were advised by the CPS that she'd be released on bail and it be added to this charge sheet for this court case for which we're here now.
Okie dokie. And following this, did you have any other dealings with the defendant or this case in general?
No.
Did you conduct forensic examinations of the bodies?
Oh, my apologies. Yes. So forensic reports were done for the human body that I found on the specific incident on which you're talking about, and additionally for another incident involving another officer.
Okay. You want to okie dokie. You want to talk to me about those forensic examinations, please?
Yes, so the first one that was conducted was the forensic analysis for my own incident on the, I believe was it the 12th you said, sorry, the 12th of February? The 10th, sorry.
10th of February, I believe.
The 10th of February, to which was found a human body. Looking back, yes. So we found, and as is prevalent on the document that's been submitted, is that cause of death for the human body we found to be asphyxiation, along with there's major trauma to the neck, the left hallux, and there's also been tongue removal. Additionally, we found that this person had been forcefully given, but for lack of a better term, a huge overdose of fentanyl, which was also found on the defendant at the time of her arrest.
Okay, and is there any proof that the fentanyl was administered by the defendant?
Objection relevant.
There is. So the forensic evidence that was found.
I believe there's been an objection raised.
Your Honour, due to relevance, there's not been anything that you've said regarding the charge sheet, regarding bodies or anything like that. I'm unsure where these questions are coming from in regards to charges that we're discussing today.
I'm just following the lines. Apologies, go on.
Mr. Solar, response?
I'm just following the lines of inquiry in relation to what was found on the suspect at the time of the arrest. After the stop and search.
Understood. And what relevance does that have for the charges that are being discussed?
So the background information of the case in entirety following the incident.
So who's dropping the charges?
I believe the charges related to this were on the additional charge sheet, which does not appear to have been read out by yourself, as it was not at the top of the court documents.
You should have done this before.
So, alright, so the criminal charges I've read out at the top of the document are the ones that I'm concerning myself with.
Okay, Your Honour. In that case, I've got no further questions for this witness.
Thank you. Defense.
Yep. Hello, officer. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, ma'am. Thank you for asking.
Okay, I'll get straight into the questioning. When you first saw Rachie Brody, did you attempt to speak with her?
Yes, we did attempt to speak with her, but from my memory, she fled the scene.
Okay, was there any reason to believe that Rachie Brody might be trying to, evade the police?
Yes, so shortly before we spoke to Miss Brodie and from memory, the two people whom she was with, we had a shop alarm at that pharmacy to which myself and a detective sergeant attended.
Okay, did she display any unusual behavior or signs of distress when officers attempted to engage with her?
Not from my memory, no.
How did Rachie Brody's driving behavior appear during the pursuit?
Objection, Your Honour. Objection, Your Honour, asked and answered.
Yep, that's completely fine. I do understand. Was she cooperative when officers caught up to her on foot, or did she resist?
Once she was brought down after the chase, and she agreed to come down from the ladder to which she had stopped on. She was then cooperative. Yes.
Okay. Did the discovery of the items affect your assessment of Rachie Brody's mental state or intent at the time?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Did the discovery of these items that you have found on her affect your assessment of Rachie Brody's mental state or intent at that time?
Yes. So after finding the human body, it then occurred to me that this person might be capable of taking a life. So my risk assessment was naturally increased, and I was more wary of her.
Okay. Did Rachie Brody show any signs of mental distress, confusion, or irrational behavior throughout the incident? Were there any indication that she understood the gravity of her actions or was aware of the police presence when she fled?
She was most certainly aware of the police presence when she fled.
Okay, and what about the gravity of her actions?
Well, that would be dependent on which action you're specifying. So the pharmacy robbery, no, I don't think she was aware of the gravity of her actions. But then after us finding the human body upon her person, yes, I think she was aware.
Okay, in your professional opinion, do you believe Rachie Brody's actions were consistent with someone who was deliberately attempting to evade capture, or could it have been a reactionary response due to fear or panic?
No, I believe she was evading capture.
Okay, were there any other officers present at the scene who can corroborate your account of the events?
Yes, I was with my detective sergeant.
Have you had a chance to look back over the body worn ever since the incident?
Yes.
Okay. And do you think yourself to have a really good memory?
I would say my memory is as good as anybody else's.
Okay. Did any other actions or interactions take place that you believe are important for the court to consider?
Well, in relation to the dangerous driving charge, naturally, Miss Brody, as has already been stated to Sergeant Solar, Miss Brody's driving at the time of the incident was reckless, to say the least.
Okay. And is there anything else you would like to add regarding this incident and your involvement?
No.
Okay, that's all, Your Honor.
Understood. The court has no questions. You may step down. The court will take a momentary recess. Can I have both defense and prosecution counsel in my office immediately?
Smack the bottom.
Okay, it appears my chair is not working. What is?
And these
Okay,
are a bit funny,
my
these
head
chairs.
seems to be doing something funny.
Chairs have always been funny, haven't they?
Right. I'm going to quickly take a moment, but when I get back, we shall discuss this charging document. Right, I'm back. Okay, so I'm not going to sit in the chair because that seemed to make it shit the pants. So, quickly, what's CPS's position? What's CPS's position on the additional charging document? Is that something you want?
It is, yes, Your Honour. That's I submit it, and I've apologies. I believe I thought you were aware of it, and I know I'm aware the defence was aware of it as well, which is why they weren't initially added to the top. I overlooked adding them to the top. It was my mistake.
Right.
If you do not wish to remove them, I will refile them for a later date.
Defense. What's your position?
Obviously it's a mistake, but if he's planning to refile them anyway, we might as well just do it all in one because it will be As Mr. Solar says, a pain in the ass to get us together again. It's 2 months in the making. We might as well do all of them together.
Understood. Okay, so, I mean, and it's my understanding that it's okay. So in that case, what I will allow you to do is I will allow you to recall the witness. I will read out the charging. I will read out the charging document again. I'll read out all the charges, and I'll allow a recall of the witness if that's okay.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just so that way we can just go ahead, because as you say, it's been a pain in the ass to get everyone here. I have shit to do tomorrow. You have shit to do tomorrow. Let's go.
Yeah.
We don't know.
In the court.
The judge is there. Can you move that?
So,
The court is resuming. Please be quiet, madam.
right, there have been additional charges brought to my attention.
There's no room for me anymore.
Right, there have been additional charges brought to my attention. These charges will now be read into the record, and we shall be permitting re-questioning of the first witness in line of these new charges. Please, everyone, sit down. So, MG4. So,
He said he's gonna refile him anyway.
with the MG4, Charge 1, Section 12A, Theft Act 1968. Section 2, Road Traffic Act 1988, Dangerous Driving. Section 17, Road Traffic Act, Duty of Driver to stop, report accident. Section 1633, Road Traffic Act 1988, failure to stop. Section 1, Criminal Damage Act 1967, destroying or damaging property. Section 18, Offences Against Person Act. Section 2, Public Order Act, violent disorder. Section 5, Misuse of Drugs Act. Section 5, Section 5, Misuse of Drugs Act, possession of Class A controlled substance. Another one, Section... Right. Section 5, Misuse of Drugs Act 1971, in regard to fentanyl. Section 5, Misuse of Drugs Act 1971, possession of Class A controlled substance in regard to LSD. Section 5, Misuse of Drugs Act, possession Class B, in regard to cannabis sativa. Common law, prevention of the lawful and decent burial of a dead body. Section 2, Road Traffic Act 1988, dangerous driving. Section 3, 1633, Road Traffic Act 1988, failure to stop police. Section 1, Criminal Damage Act 1967, destroying or damaging property. Section 5, Misuse of Drugs Act in regard to fentanyl again, but on a different date. Section 5, Misuse of Drugs Act, possession Class B, in regard to wish to alter her plea.
Did you hear him then?
I think your voice went a bit crackly, Your Honour. With regards to the last bit you said.
Right. In light of the new and updated charge sheet, does the defendant wish to alter her plea?
Yes, Your Honor. So we're still pleading not guilty to dangerous driving. we would also like to plead not guilty to the prevention of and burial of the bodies. That's all.
Understood. So those ones those ones you are not those ones you are contesting?
Yep, those are the charges would be contested. Everything else we plead guilty for.
Understood, thank you. All right. In that case, could the first witness return to the stand? All right, Miss. All right, Sansola. Recross examination in light of new charges.
Okay, it's Constable Granger. We're going to pick up where we left off with regards to the forensic examination of the bodies. Is that okay?
Perfect, yes, absolutely.
No worries. So, will you just refresh our memories about what you said previously about the bodies, please?
So,
as it was objected to.
Yes, of course. So specifically looking firstly at the body that was found by myself and my detective sergeant. This was a female, age around 37, at which point we, testing the body, found that they had been asphyxiated by force, considerable force, missing both their left toe and also had fractures to their left ankle and abrasions around the ankles. Going back to what I said previously, so major trauma around the neck and also removal of the tongue, it was also apparent that Miss Brodie had overdosed this person with a large amount of fentanyl.
Okay. How do you know it was Miss Brodie that overdosed them?
So going back to the forensic evidence, we found auburn hair traced back to Miss Brodie on the body.
Okie dokie. Have you conducted many forensic examinations of bodies?
I had conducted a forensic examination for the same case on a human finger prior to this human body.
Okay. Because for the same case, you want to tell me about the finger, please?
So on the 8th of February, a human finger was found on Miss Brodie's person. Not a great deal could be found. However, there was pooling of blood, which left in the top of the finger, or what was left of the finger, which would lead to this. Would lead one to believe that the finger was bitten off.
Okie dokie. Did you have any bite marks you could compare, or did they belong to the defendant?
I didn't have any to compare. However, there were teeth marks found on the finger.
Okay. And how can you prove it was the defendant and not, say, another person or an animal that did the biting?
So typically, when typically an animal, these bite marks would be considerably different to that of a human. A human leaves, giving this amount of force, would leave relatively straight bite marks, for lack of a better term. It's quite a clean cut, essentially, whereas an animal tends to be considerably more ripped rather than bitten.
Okay. Were you able to determine the age or origin of this finger at all?
No.
No? Okay. No further questions, Your
Honor. Is it okay if I can go ahead, Your Honor?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Officer, we're just gonna go back to when you arrested her. Okay.
Okay.
Did she physically resist or attempt to flee?
She attempted to flee. She did not physically resist.
Okay, and was she compliant when first approached by police?
She was talkative, and then when we, at the first time we tried to apprehend her and her friends or her accomplices rather, at the pharmacy, they then fled the scene.
Okay. Were any efforts made to assess why she was running before escalating to a full pursuit?
No.
Okay. Were any officers involved trained in handling individuals in crisis or distress?
Not that I'm aware, however, we did at the time that any person was in crisis or distress.
Okay. Did any officers know anything unusual about her behavior in their reports?
It would only be my own report that was made for that incident.
Okay. What steps were taken after she was detained to ensure she understood the situation?
Well, she was spoken to by myself and members of the CPS given the charges.
Okay. Did officers conduct any immediate medical or welfare assessment upon her arrest?
Well, welfare. She naturally has her custody rights, which are there to look after her welfare. Medical. I don't believe she received any medical treatment from my memory.
Okay. Were firearms, tasers, or any forceful measures drawn at any point in the pursuit?
I believe my taser was drawn in an attempt to get her to stop as she was fleeing. However, it was not used.
Okay. How many officers were pursuing Rachie Brody at the time of her arrest?
Myself and my detective sergeant.
Would you agree that in certain situations, individuals may flee out of fear rather than criminal intent?
Objection. Objection on a call for speculation.
It was a broad question, Your Honour. It was about individuals.
Objection is overruled at this time.
Lovely.
Okay.
Could you repeat the question? Sorry.
Would you agree that in certain situations, individuals may flee out of fear rather than criminal intent?
Yes, I do believe that. However, in this scenario, given that Miss Brodie and her accomplices were very talkative to us to begin with, the fleeing was very. It was very obvious they were fleeing from a crime scene.
Okay. Have you ever encountered situations where a suspect runs due to fear rather than guilt?
No.
Okay. That's all, Your Honour.
Thank you. Anything on recross?
Okay, it comes from Grange. So things were brought up there about the care of Rachie Brody and first aid. At any point, did you believe she didn't have capacity while she was in your custody?
No, I believe she had capacity all the time. All the time she was in my custody.
Okie dokie. And do you believe it was obvious that you were members of the police force?
It was very obvious that we were members of the police force, yes.
Why do you believe it was obvious that you were members of the police service?
Because myself and my detective sergeant had our vests on, which clearly state police, and we also arrived in a police vehicle with our sirens on.
Okay. That's all, Your Honour.
Thank you. The court has no questions. You may step down. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
The witness is excused if he wishes to resume normal duties, or else he may sit and observe. With this in mind, prosecution, next witness or piece of evidence.
Thank you. In relation to the previous witness, I wish to bring into evidence RG01, which is the body-worn video showing the vehicle pursuit with Rachie Brody on the 10th of February 2025. Do you wish to play it for the court, or are you happy for it just to be admitted into evidence?
I'm happy for it to be admitted into evidence. Does the defence wish for an opportunity to review this?
No, Your Honour.
All right.
Already aware.
Alright, in that case, Mr.
He said
Solar,
he'd bring that in,
or
to be
sorry,
honest.
Sergeant Solar, you may discuss the evidence.
I don't believe I wish to discuss it, only noting that it shows in the evidence that the pursuit as described by the detective constable, the vehicle pursuit that is, also noting as part of the pursuit that the defendant driving the black in colour local vehicle did have a collision with a black in colour Sultan at the junction of Alta Street and Occupation Avenue as a result of the defendant failed to stop at a red traffic light. As I did mention in my opening as well, it can be heard that the defendant did shout an apology to the driver of the other vehicle, however, then continued to make off and did not exchange documents with the driver, and then collided with a roadside sign that was then required to be replaced.
Understood, thank you. Defense, do you have any comment about this evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well.
As you can see in that body-worn video, she was staying on the right lanes of traffic at all times. The collision that Mr. Avian Solar, is referencing to, it wasn't just that Miss Rachie Brody wasn't the one that stopped. The Sultan had driven off, and then a second later, a millisecond or two later, Miss Rachie had driven off. It was sort of a mutual decision between two parties. There was no point of Miss Rachie waiting. There was no point of Miss Rachie waiting for the other driver for the paper exchange, as he had, like I said, already driven off. Again, in regards to speed limits, etc., she was in 70 to 80 miles per hour at all times or less. The only time where you see the officer kind of speed up to catch up is when he's having some sort of issues and he's lost eyes on her due to no fault of Miss Rachie's speed. If you kind of look closely, she is waiting at junctions to look left and right. She stops between every turn to look left and then turn. What Mr. Solar is saying about dangerous driving, I don't believe that this is a case of dangerous driving at all, Your Honor. She may be a bad driver, but not a dangerous driver. That's
So you
all.
believe... So, 1 second. So you believe that driving at 70 to 80 miles an hour is an appropriate speed in a built-up area?
No, but I don't think it's dangerous driving, as the rest of the city does operate at 100 miles per hour as standard speed, and you do not see them getting pulled over for dangerous driving most of the times.
Objection, Your Honour. That's not evidence that the rest of the city drives at 100 miles an hour.
Understood. The court will... Understood. The court will overrule the objection, but we will continue. So is there anything further?
No, that's all, Your Honour. Thank you.
Thank you. Next piece of evidence, prosecution or witness.
I'm trying to change the precedent.
The next piece of evidence is also in relation to the witness that was just called. It is RG02, and it's the body-worn video showing the foot pursuit with Brodie on the 10th of February 2025. It does show a short foot pursuit followed by Miss Brodie going up the ladder and then climbing back down for it, at which point she is subjected to a stop and search.
5-6.
Understood. The court will admit that into evidence if everyone's happy with that.
Yep.
Sure enough.
All right. Does anyone need time to review it?
So, like...
Does anyone need time to review it?
No, Your Honour.
No, Your Honour.
All right, Mr. Souther, you may make your remarks.
So, as I have already remarked, the body-worn footage is quite short. It does show the foot pursuit with the defendant. It does show her climbing up a ladder, coming down for it, and then I believe being subjected to the stop and search by the detective constable. That's all, Your Honour.
Understood. Understood. Defence.
Yes, Your Honor. In that body-worn video footage, you can clearly hear my client say, "You're scaring us." If that's not a indication of fear, I don't know what is. On top of this, if my client truly had the intention to escape authorities, when the officer that was on the ladder behind her had gotten down, she could have easily carried on top and just sort of evaded him. However, she chose to come down and sort of fight that mental, that mentalness inside of her, and eventually, get arrested. When the officer before on stand said that he did not see any sort of indicators that she was under distress, I believe that to be false, as like I said, clearly in the video she was indicating fear. And that's all.
Understood. Understood. In that case, we shall continue. Next piece of evidence. A witness. Prosecution.
The next piece of evidence that we submit is RG03. That is the search record conducted by Detective Constable Granger for the incident on the 10th of February 2025, showing the evidence recovered.
Understood. And this is for the specifically for the dead body, yes?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Understood. Understood. Do you have any comments in regard to this?
Not at all, Your Honor. I believe the evidence speaks for itself.
Understood. Defense.
The statements made by Sergeant Solar here and obviously Officer Granger, they said that they found the body on her and it had bite marks, etc. on it. However, she does also have a shovel on her. That doesn't show that she's sort of, she's done that. It kind of shows that she's dug the body up, if anything. I think the statements that allude to her actually being the one that alluded to whoever that person was, death, is on no basis. There's no evidence or no, valid evidence rather. As kind of looks to me that it's been dug up rather than murdered by her. That's all.
Understood.
We're gonna get you guilty on prevention.
Understood. Next piece of evidence, Mr. Solar.
Our next piece of evidence is RG/04. It's the incident report 56119 created by Detective Constable Granger in relation to this incident.
Understood. Defense, do you have access to this report?
Yes, I do.
Understood. Do people need time to review it?
Your Honor.
All right. Mr.
I'm
Solar,
second.
begin.
The incident report in question does detail the events of the incident we are referring to for the 10th of February 2025 and contains what the officer noted down at the time the defendant was in the cells in relation to it. I believe all the salient points have already been covered by the witness on the stand and by the opening remarks, and as such, I will not reiterate them.
Understood. Defense.
I'm of the same viewing. However, the charge of murder I don't believe applies there.
Why?
As I said before when we were discussing the dead body, I don't think the client, there's not enough proof that she has actually murdered that body. Within the evidence that we were getting, she also has a shovel on it. It just looks like she's dug the body up rather than murdered it herself.
Understood. Alright, next piece of evidence. Prosecution.
Sure, the next piece of evidence is RG/005. It's the forensic report dated the 14th of February 2025, and it's in relation to a finger found in the possession of Rachie Brody. The forensic examination, as already knows, was conducted by Detective Constable Granger.
Understood. The report also goes into some detail about a dead body. Do we want to fold the two pieces of evidence together?
Yes, sure. If it's expedient.
Yeah, do that.
Received. As already mentioned in the testimony of Detective Constable Granger, all the points have been covered, and as such, for expediency, I won't repeat them.
Understood. Defense.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have anything to say in regard to this piece?
No, I'm of the same belief. It's already been iterated, and there's no point going over it again. I'm so tired.
Understood. This piece of evidence is admitted. Next piece of evidence, prosecution.
Next piece of evidence is RG06. It's the forensic report dated the 15th of February 2025, once again conducted by Detective Constable Granger.
Yep. In regard to the dead body, yes?
It is, yes, Your Honor. As we have already covered, same as before, it's already been reiterated, as such, for experience, I won't reiterate the points.
Understood. Understood. Defense, do you have any questions, points about this piece of evidence? Defense.
Sorry, could you repeat that, please, Your Honor? Just had
Defense, do you have any questions or points about this piece of evidence?
No, Your Honor. As Mr. Sola said, it's already been iterated.
Understood. So, just a quick one, prosecution. Is it the prosecution's contention that the victim was murdered by means of the shovel?
Your Honor, the prosecution is unsure about the cause of death for the victim at this moment in time.
Understood.
Objection, Your Honor. In the report, it says death due to overdose, and let me just read it again. Yeah, so it says death due to overdose.
Understood, thank you. One more question. What is a kerf mark?
I'm unsure, Your Honor. You would have to ask the Detective Constable for that. I'm not an expert in forensic analysis.
All right, understood. Piece of evidence is admitted. Next.
Your Honor, the final piece of evidence we wish to admit is the interview of Brodie, of the defendant, conducted on the 12th February 2025, also conducted by Detective Constable Granger.
Understood. Understood. This would be RG05.
That's correct.
All right. Does anyone have any... Right, defense, do you have any comments about this? Sorry. Correction. Prosecution, do you have any comments about this?
At this time, Your Honour, the evidence speaks for itself. Where it's quite a comprehensive interview with the defendant, conducted by the detective.
Understood. Are there any pertinent points you wish the court to pay special attention to?
There is, Your Honour. There is a moment where the defendant, I believe, does allude to chewing on the remains found in her possession.
Understood. Defense, do you have any comments about this interview?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. While obviously, like Mr. Sola said, the interview does speak for itself, I would like you to kind of pay close attention to her behavior, how she's speaking, how she's reacting to the comments, how it's sort of all the signs of anxiety, stress, etc. It is very, very, very clear and abundant that my client was not on the right of mind during this interview.
Understood.
Pardon? Could you repeat that? Sorry.
Who's her solicitor for this interview?
It was I.
Okay. And your client was not of sound mind for this interview?
I did iterate that to the officer. However, they said there was no medical evidence. So what we did, obviously, after the interview, I suggested for my client to get a medical report made, which was then made after the interview. I still believe that she was not of sound mind during this interview. When we requested for a medical assessment in the cells, they said NHS don't do that anymore, and instead you should make an appointment. And so she was deemed fit by DC Granger there to take this interview. Obviously, I am not a medical professional, which is why I requested it in the first place, but it was denied.
Understood. Understood. Thank you very much. Next piece. Do you have any further evidence?
No further evidence from this witness, Your Honour.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Is it so? Anything further, or is that?
Yes, Your Honour. I now wish to call our second witness, Sergeant William White, to the stand.
All right, Mr. Williams, yes.
William White. Yep.
Right, Mr. White, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Judge.
Nope.
It's not just me then.
Yep, I cannot
Right.
hear anything.
Okay, my ears just went funny. So last I heard was Mr. White saying he was going to tell the truth. So if we could start again from that point, please.
Okay. Sergeant White, you remember the Los Santos Police Service, is that correct?
Yes, sorry, I can hear you now.
How long have you been a member of the Los Santos Police Service?
Coming up to 10 months-ish now, I think.
Okie dokie.
Which sergeant was this for? How was he involved again?
Okie dokie. So, what I'm going to ask you, I'm going to ask you about the incident on the 12th of February 2025. Do you recall anything that happened on that day involving the defendant?
Yes, would you like me to elaborate?
Yes, please.
So my unit was responding to a shop alarm tripped at Hollock Pharmacy. Once we arrived, we've noticed a few individuals, namely Rachie Brody, Kenzie Lowry, and an individual blacked out attacking officers. Myself and my colleague hopped over a wall to assist them, where I managed to get entertainment, Miss Rachie Brody and Kenzo Lowry.
Okie dokie. You said they were attacking officers. How were they attacking them?
So the blacked out individual was swinging at officers with a baseball bat. Same with Mr. Lowry. From what I remember, Miss Brody had knocked an officer down and started biting him.
Do you recall where she was biting him?
I couldn't quite see, but it was more sort of torso area, so potentially his arm somewhere.
Okay, do you remember which officer this was?
Yes, it was PC Arlo Williams.
Okie dokie. So, when you arrived on scene, there was 3 individuals there. Did you fear for your own safety?
At one point, yes, I was knocked to the ground, and Mr. Lowry had struck me with a baseball bat. However, I managed to get back up and get a couple of people into detainment.
Okie dokie. Okie dokie. So, obviously, the officer that you said was with you, was that Police Inspector Thomas Moody?
That is correct, yes.
Okie dokie. Remember any of his actions on the event?
I can mainly remember he was in front of me getting attacked by the blacked out individual. And then we were sort of in a bit of a mess trying to secure the other suspects.
Okay. Did you at any point produce your taser and any other item of PPE?
Yes, my taser.
Did you discharge that taser at all?
I did indeed.
Why did you discharge that taser?
We were met with force via baseball bats, and as a measure of self-defense, it's justifiable to use a taser against such one attacking you with a baseball bat.
Okay. Were you involved in the arrest or search of the defendant?
Yes.
What part of that were you involved with?
I was the one who got Miss Brody into cuffs, and then we secured everyone else and then processed her how we would do normally.
Okay. Did you search the defendant?
I cannot remember off the top of my head.
Okay. Are you aware if she was searched?
She was indeed, yes.
Okay. Do you recall if this search record highlighted in evidence TM02 is the search from this incident?
Allow me to just have a quick look. Oh yeah. That jogs memory now. Yes, that was my search record, and yes, that was the search record of Miss Brody.
Okay. And finally, evidence TM01, the body-worn video. Is that an accurate reflection of the incident?
Bear with me. Was that the one that is not available anymore?
It is available.
Bear with me 1 second.
Yes.
Yes, that's accurate, correct.
Okay. And how was Miss Brody after she was arrested? Was she competent, do you believe?
100%. She knew what she was doing, and so she was most definitely accountable for the actions that she took.
Do you believe she had capacity to make her own decisions?
I do, yes.
Okie dokie. That's all, Your Honour.
Understood. Defence, cross-examination.
Yep. Obviously, Mr. Solar has asked a lot of the questions, so I'll just kind of go into the others. When the attack was taking place, did Miss Rachie brandish any sort of weapon?
Not that I can remember, no.
Okay. During the situation, was it a very high intense situation?
Yeah, there was a moderate level of intensity, but not necessarily high.
Okay. How did Officer Williams react after being bitten? Was he immediately incapacitated or able to continue his duties?
I'm not fully aware of the aftermath for PC Williams. However, he was definitely in a state of incapacitation during the event.
Okay, and where were you positioned when the attack occurred?
Sort of all around the car park, really, from the sidewalk beyond the wall to within the car park where they all were.
Okay, and obviously in the body worn you can see many other officers present. So what actions did they take to subdue or assist in the handling of the situation?
All other officers did a fantastic job to also help reduce the threat and detain these suspects.
Was there any use of force in response to the attack by Rachie Brody?
Yes.
Okay, could you explain what actions were taken and why?
From review of the body worn, there was a taser shot, as well as an attempted tackle, where she also sort of tripped over herself where she was detained.
Okay, do you believe the use of force was justified in this particular situation?
Yes.
During the attack, did you notice any signs that Rachie Brody was mentally distressed or acting in a way that could suggest she was not fully aware of her actions?
No.
Were there any verbal expressions from Rachie Brody that indicated her mental state or her perception of what was happening?
None that I can recollect.
Given that the situation escalated to an attack, did you consider Rachie Brody's mental health as a possible factor in her behavior?
No.
Following the incident with Officer Williams, was Rachel Brody arrested immediately or was there a delay due to her actions during the altercation?
I can't necessarily say whether it was immediately, but it's most definitely in a timely manner.
Okay, what was the extent of Officer Williams' injury from the bite?
Objection, Your Honour, hearsay.
Objection. Sergeant, do you have
Yes.
any Sergeant? Do you have any personal experience and/or knowledge of the injury? Did you see it, or Did you see it, or were you told of it?
It's not my Let me rephrase. It's not something that I know fully about, so I'll be unable to comment on certainties.
That's all right, Your Honor. I can rephrase if needed.
Yeah, if you could rephrase, please.
Okay. To your knowledge, did Officer Williams go straight to the hospital after the attack?
I'm unfortunately unaware of what happened.
Okay. Was the injury documented in any way, such as through a report, medical assessment, or photographs?
Also unaware.
Okay. Are you aware of any sort of, treatment or long-term follow-up care for the injuries sustained during the incident?
I am not.
Okay. Is there any further information you can provide about Rachie Brody's actions or behavior during the event on February 12, 2025?
Negative.
Okay. Do you believe Rachie Brody's actions were consistent with someone who was aware of the consequences of their behavior, or do you believe mental health may have played a significant role?
Objection, Your Honour. Call for speculation. Sergeant White is not a mental health expert.
I believe it is in his role to be able to see if a suspect is in distress and how to handle it properly. He should be able to assess that situation correctly.
If I may comment then.
The objection at this time is... excuse me. The objection at this time is sustained in regard to calling for speculation.
All right. Officer White, do you believe that the report accurately reflects the situation as it occurred?
May I have a second to have a look at the report?
Your Honour?
You may. While he does, is going to take a 30-second recess.
Yep.
In fact, let's take the 5-minute recess so that people can do what they need to do. Okay. With the report reviewed, you may continue.
Any R&DC news receiving after 1?
Yes, I do.
I didn't hear a response from the witness.
Yes, I find it accurate.
Very well. Thank you very much for your time, Sergeant. You may take a seat and right. Sergeant, you may be excused. You may take a seat back in the gallery, or you may leave at your pleasure. Alrighty. Anything else from the prosecution?
Yes, Your Honour, in relation to this incident they've already referred to, but I wish to enter into evidence Tango Mike /01. It's the body worn video from Inspector Thomas Moody in relation to the incident on the 12th of February 2025.
Shouldn't have brought it up. Proves my point.
Understood. Does anyone need time to review this piece of material?
No, you punch punched him, that's it. And he had a little nibble. It's not that deep.
Prosecution, do you have any comments about this video?
You know, this body one very clearly shows two individuals with weapons assaulting officers. You see when the officer arrive, they produce their tasers. I believe this is due to the fact, as already alluded to, they feel it for their personal safety. It also shows the defendant chewing on the finger of Police Constable Arlo Williams.
Understood. Defense.
Yes, Your Honor. So essentially, if you do look into that body cam, into that body worn, you will see that Inspector Thomas Moody himself says, "Rachie, you crazy," and then pauses. He himself has acknowledged there that Rachie was indeed not in the mental capacity of acting. On top of this, if you look at the way she is walking around, it is clear as day that she is not walking correctly. I believe they should have performed a breathalyzer on her at that point. Again, I don't believe she was acting in her full mental capacity. Also, Mr. Aviansola has mentioned that there were two people that brandished weapons and attacked. None of those two people were my client, Rachie Brody. So I don't see how that is relevant at all. Apart from the fact that it did add to a highly distressful situation, that obviously has affected my client during her thinking in that matter. On top of this, there is a charge of possession of a weapon without reasonable excuse. Rachie is a known mechanic. There is mechanic kits and body kits in her pockets right next to the crowbar. It is highly plausible that this quote-unquote weapon is there for mechanic use only, as she did not pull it out to assault anyone, and she only, if you see in the body cam footage, she only punched the officer. I think that she did have a reasonable to have that there. Yeah, that's all. That's all from me, Your Honor.
Understood.
What a silly goose.
Understood. Prosecution, do you have any comment?
Yeah, I just wish to object to the use of the "she's crazy." Inspector Thompson is not a medical specialist, and it could simply be a turn of phrase, and thus implying that he's referring to her physically being crazy is just cause for speculation, without him here to be questioned about it.
Understood. Defense, anything quickly?
Regarding what Mr. Solar has just said, again, I believe it is in a police officer's duty to assess a situation and the state of someone's mental health as soon as they're coming upon them, to sort of distinguish if this person is in their right of mind or not, and how to deal with that. Obviously, they're not going to be trained professionals. They're not there to give her a full diagnosis. They're only meant to see just above, on the surface, is this person in the right mental state?
Understood. Understood. Next piece of evidence.
Next piece of evidence, Your Honor, is Tango Mike 02. It's the search record of the defendant from this incident on the 12th of February 2025.
Understood. Understood. Please explain.
This search record that found the defendant was in possession of a human finger, human head, human torso, human hand, small amount of morphine, a joint, 35 grams of sativa bud, and 32 LSD tablets.
Understood. Defense.
Yes, Your Honor. In terms of that search record, no proof of murder or anything of the kind. Yes, she was in possession of those bodies, which we will have a explanation for later on in the court case. Again, I don't think there's any evidence for murder or anything serious such as that. That's all for that, Your Honor. And obviously the fingers are explained by PC Arlo's fingers missing. But yeah, that's all on that, Your Honor.
Understood. Understood. Next piece of evidence.
Now the next piece of evidence is Tango Mike /03 is the incident report from the incident in question on the 12th of February 2025.
Understood. Defense, have you had time to review this incident report?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm just going over it just to refresh my memory just quickly.
Understood. Which one would this be?
It is 56182, Your Honor.
Understood. Next. So, do you have any? Okay, correction. Do you have anything about this?
No, Your Honor, nothing that's not already been covered, and for the expediency of the court, I won't be reiterating what's already made.
Thank you. Defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Just that the possession charges I don't believe apply here. Not the drugs possession. The weapons possession does not apply. On top of this, in a later evidence that I think Mr. Solo will be bringing up soon, it is not my client who incapacitated PC Ola Williams. From reading what he has said, if I've interpreted that correctly. So I believe it's not GBH, it would be ABH for the biting. That's all, Your Honor.
Understood. Next piece of evidence.
Right, the next piece of evidence is the statement provided by Police Constable Arlo Williams. The intention was to call the witness, however, he cannot be here today. Would you like me to read it for the court, Your Honor?
Please do.
Alpha Delta 1 was State 5 to the in-town pharmacy. When arriving at the scene, I had seen 3 individuals within the pharmacy with all their hands in the till supplies. I'd also seen a car parked out front, plate unknown. Once arriving at the pharmacy, getting ready to make entry, they all started getting violent, using offensive language. A forced storm happened and sent all the cars away. I was the first to fly back in, and when I realised I was first to fly back in, I realised they tried to run out of the door of the pharmacy while chasing the ginger-haired lady, now known as Rachie Brody. Another individual, IC9 male, fully blacked out, threatened me, saying, "If you tackle her or hit that woman, I will hurt you." And he continued to make these threats. After tackling Rachie Brody to the floor, the IC9 blacked out male pulled out a baseball bat and started to hit me. I managed to tase him, and that is when Rachie Brody pulled out an additional baseball bat and whacked me to the floor. As soon as I went down, multiple units arrived and were chasing IC9 blacked out male, while Rachie ran over to me, PCR Williams, a capacitated body, and said she was going to start chewing my fingers as they looked delicious, and proceeded to chew my fingers. This resulted in losing 2 fingers. The statement of Police Constable Arlo Williams. No body-worn footage is available, however.
Understood. Understood. Do you have any comment?
Just comments showing that the three individuals were at the same location together for a common purpose, that being looking through the till supplies and then making off from the location. And it is quite clear from the statement of PC Williams that Brodie was the cause of him losing 2 fingers by chewing them, and I quote, because they looked delicious.
What do you get from a pharmacy robbery? What sort of drugs?
Understood. Defence, do you have any comment?
Hello, Your Honor. I'm going to request that we completely disregard that piece of evidence there. Firstly, he has stated that my client has pulled out a baseball bat. She did not even have a baseball bat in her possession. And he also said that the person who knocked him to the floor was obviously the man that was blacked out, saying that he should not be hitting the lady. The only viable part of that entire statement is the fact that she has nibbled on his fingers because they look tasty. Everything else, I believe, should not be considered the court, as it just seems a bit, it's contradicting. It's a statement that's very, very contradicting to itself. Again, no evidence that she had a baseball bat on her. She had a crowbar on her. That was never brandished. There's no proof, no body-worn footage of her ever brandishing any weapon against the officers. The officers themselves have not made any comments as to whether she has brandished, again, a weapon. It all just kind of seems like hearsay. There's no proof of it. And the only proof that there is, and corroborating sort of statements, is about the fingers being nibbled. Again, I would request that this statement itself is not used for your judgment.
Understood. Understood. Prosecution response.
Yeah, sure. And obviously, the defence says that it's hearsay. I would disagree with that, as it is a first-hand account of the situation involving PC Williams, and as such, it cannot be considered hearsay, as it is his account. I would note it is quite clear that PC Williams did suffer quite serious injuries for that, and could potentially have been in shock or have a fuzzy memory from the incident. I'm not, however, a medical professional, and no medical record exists to attest to whether that was the case or not.
Understood.
Your Honor, if I just may add on to that, if that's okay?
You may.
As the prosecution has stated that he may have had a fuzzy memory. Can we really trust the testimony that is meant to be a first account statement of the situation, when it's not even entirely reliable due to him being, quote unquote, having a fuzzy memory? That's all.
Understood. So we're saying, due to mental impairment, his testimony perhaps cannot be relied upon.
Yes,
Is that
Your
what
Honor.
we're saying?
Yes, Your
Understood.
Honor.
Your Honor, by that logic, there's no proof that there was any medical impairment. I'm just suggesting that it could have been the case.
Understood. The court will weigh all facts in evidence and will assign them their appropriate ruling. Well, the court does note the statement makes mention of a baseball bat when Miss Brodie did not, in fact, have a baseball bat, as evidenced by the search record. But next piece of evidence, please.
The final piece of evidence I wish to enter into account is Juliet Oscar /01. This is dashcam footage from the same incident. It covers nothing more that's already been covered, so I do not believe I need to comment on it further.
Understood. Understood, thank you. Does anyone need a moment to review this? Defense?
Yes, please, Your Honour. It was added last minute, as you're aware.
Understood. Are there any particular? Excuse me. Are there any particular parts that are especially relevant?
No, that aren't covered by other evidence, I believe, Your Honour.
Understood. Understood. In that case, defence, let me know when you've finished looking through it and we will continue.
Yeah, I've looked through it. Yep, everything there is something that's already been covered. It's just simply another point of view on the situation without any volume.
Understood. Understood. The court will... Understood. In that case, is that everything from the prosecution?
That is, Your Honour.
Wonderful. Let us now proceed.
This is a Robbie 1 to Romeo
2-minute
Oscar.
recess, and then we will proceed to the defence.
Do you know what's winding me up is that we got told to take our hats off, but those officers still have their helmets on. It's winding me up.
That's because you are a helmet, you got a bell end.
What?
Aye!
Whoa, what was that about?
Right. Officer in high vis.
Oi! High-vis officer!
Shut up, Sola. I'm the judge here today.
Right, what are you doing, fella? Mate, out of the chair.
Do you want to stand up?
Out of the chair, mate.
Are you trying to make guilty or not guilty? Just
The court today finds you not guilty.
Right, mate, go and get out of the chair, force will be used.
It's been a gun run.
Out to the chair.
Alright.
Well, that was exciting.
Alright.
Just thought I'd come down for the end of the court case.
Come to,
Do you want to stay
got held in contempt.
Yes.
Stay there.
5,000.
Right, put your hands up for us. You're being
Right.
detained for this moment in time.
No detained, he's under arrest for contempt of court.
Okay. Get away from me, I'm a police officer.
Stay where you are, fella.
Help me!
Right, moment in time, you're under arrest for contempt of court. You do not have to say anything, but it may have a defence if you do not mention when questioning somebody later in court. Anything you do say may be grounds to arrest you in contempt of court. Essential proper effective investigation, plenty of disappearance, ascertain your name, ascertain your address.
Found avian solar, fucking chocolate bars in the break room.
Right. Constable, you able to take him off with police?
Yes,
Thank you. 5,000 months from the judge.
I'm not being funny, but my solicitor has freaking PTSD because of this shit.
That is true. Thank you. It's all handled.
Got you, Bill, don't you worry.
All good.
Alright. Everyone, please resume your seats. Now, let us continue.
You know what I mean?
Has everyone taken this moment to get food, water, all these things?
Yes, Your Honour.
Wonderful. So, defence, you may begin.
Yes, Your Honour. We would like to enter into evidence Sierra Papa 1, the copy of the medical statement issued by Phoenix, Director of the NHS, on Rachie Brody's mental health.
Understood. Understood, I've reviewed this. Prosecution, do you wish to review it?
I've reviewed it, Your Honour.
All right. Defence, you may comment.
Yep, so as the director said in the report, it is very difficult to sort of see if Rachie truly is suffering from DID, etc., until she goes on to rehabilitation. Obviously, she is on rehab now and she has been feeling more herself. She has expressed many times that she does not remember doing most of those things, and if she has done them, she feels insanely guilty as a normal person would. This is just proof of how much, we'll have her understand later, but it's just kind of proof of the words from the director that she indeed may be suffering from DID and other mental disorders. Furthermore, she is also, when under stressful situations, in the influence of drugs, she isn't able to think for herself. I request that the court sort of, before considering this, they lay the basis of the future questionings and witnesses, etc. They link it back to this report, just sort of what the Phoenix has said, the director has said, and what it's sort of, alluding to. The fact that Rachie is okay without drugs, but with drugs, it turns into a completely different person, which we will say later in the court case, she is not on drugs anymore. And so, yeah. Essentially what I'm saying is everything will be leading back to this.
Understood. Thank you for this useful piece of context.
Thank you.
Prosecution, what are your thoughts?
Your Honor, I've got two comments to make. The first one has already been pointed out by the defence that Director Phoenix could not state definitively that the defendant is suffering from DID, and and the second point is that his impartial opinion is that she is likely to be of sound mind to be held accountable for her actions. That's all, Your Honor.
All right. In regard, all right. All right. Defense. Next piece of evidence or next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to enter into evidence Sierra Papa W1, the validity of Chris Noble's statement. Essentially, it will come into when we call up Mr. Chris Noble to the stand as a witness, but it is just the validation of his credibility through a court order signed by Judge Dredd Cage himself. And so there is no questions on whether this is something that he's done himself or it's, again, it kind of just confirms his credibility, yeah. It also confirms that Rachie Brody has done 9,000 months in remand. It was originally 20,000. However, she was released based on that court order by Judge Dredd Cage, sorry. That's all.
Understood. Prosecution, do you have any comments on this piece of evidence?
No comments on this, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Next.
We would like to call up Chris Noble as a witness, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Noble, please take the stand.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for joining us. Before questioning may begin, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may begin defense.
Okay, could you please state your name and occupation for the record?
Yes, I can, certainly. My name is Chris Noble. I am the Director, Chief Boss of Noble Wholesale Logistics and Noble Stores here in Los Santos.
Okay, and how did you come to be responsible for overseeing my client's rehabilitation?
Can you please repeat that?
How did you come to overseeing my client's rehabilitation? Just come to be responsible.
For quite some time, Noble Wholesale Logistics, Noble Stores, and Auto Exotic has been a working relationship with an active investment from my side. This has ended up in me spending quite a bit of time at Auto Exotic and getting to know the people there, including Miss Rachie Brody over there. In the later stages of her remand, there was asked by the Judge Dredd at the time if this could be something that we could do, whereas we worked out the details and I signed the court order. I didn't sign the court order, apologies, but I agreed to the terms of being a supervisor for Miss Rachie Brody.
Okay, and can you confirm that your statement regarding my client's progress is a formal exhibit before this court?
Yes, miss.
Okay. Since March 2nd, you have supervised my client. Can you describe the structure of this rehab process?
Objection, Your Honour. Relevance.
This is in regards to the possession charges and how she has not had any possession charges since.
With respect to that, Your Honour, whether or not she has possession charges since the incident, it has no bearing on the guilt in relation to this case.
I think it would prove the character and the mental well-being of my client without drugs. It sort of just proves and comes back to the medical assessment.
At this point in time, the objection will be sustained. We are here to discuss the events, and we are here to discuss the criminal charges linked to the events in question.
Okay. Considering the rehab journey that you have put my client through, if allowed to continue on this path, do you believe that my client has a high chance of full reintegration into society?
Objection, Your Honour. Relevance again. This has no bearing on the charges laid before us.
Your Honour, this is based on the claim that Mr. Solar has made during this court case that my client is to society.
At this point in time, the objection will be overruled.
Yeah. So.
Please, yeah, repeat.
Based on your experience with my client, would you recommend? Sorry, bear with me. I've just lost the question. Okay, if allowed to continue on this path, do you believe my client has a high chance of full reintegration into society?
I believe so, yes. The Miss Brody has shown excellent improvements from before in terms of taking care of certain activities that I have brought her with me on. These vary in both harvesting and taking care of crops and items considered rather, well, you need to treat them carefully so you don't ruin them because it goes out in an open market, and then also different types of experiences to what she's been used to has shown, in my opinion, a great improvement on her mental state at the time, so I believe so, yeah.
During your time with her, has she sort of taken any drugs, any alcohol, anything like that?
Not at all.
Okay, and from how you have witnessed her act, and as the acting supervisor due to the court order, can you tell me if you have seen her exhibit any dangerous behaviors that would be dangerous to society?
I would say the only dangerous behavior I would have seen is the in terms of picking mushrooms in the Chiliad mountain wilderness. She went for every single mushroom, and we know for a fact that you shouldn't go for every single mushroom. We spent quite an extensive time teaching about the difference of fungi and mushroom and how it can act on your body if you eat the wrong one. That's the only one.
Okay, would you say that my client has demonstrated genuine remorse for her past actions?
I would say.
Objection, Your Honour, relevance.
This is to kind of prove that the mental health, that the DID that Mr. Phoenix Ashes was talking about in the report has some sort of credibility to it. If she is of sound mind to experience guilt, I believe it should be allowed. As during when on drugs, she was not able to tell between what she had done wrong and the severity of her actions.
At this point in time, the objection will be sustained.
Okay. Based on your experience, would you recommend that the court take my client's rehab efforts into consideration when determining an appropriate outcome?
Most definitely, yes. As I said, there are improvements, but there's still a way to go.
Okay, and do you have any final comments that the court should know about before I finish off?
No.
All right, that's all from me, Your Honor.
Ooh, right. Let's have a look.
Should have not allowed it.
So, with that in mind, let's have closing argument. So, with that in mind, Mr. Noble, you may take a seat. Thank you.
Your Honour, may I question the witness?
Correction. Yes, cross-examination.
Okay, I'll go cross.
Afternoon, Mr. Noble. So I've just got a couple of questions for you. Obviously, you have entered in this release on license with a defendant over there. Have you been involved in any of these before?
Please repeat the question. I couldn't quite understand.
Apologies. Have you been involved in any release on license orders before?
No, sir.
Okie dokie. So it's the first time you already explained to me why you believe why you got involved with it. So you've said that she may be a safe to release in society has been rehabilitated through dealing with vegetables. Why do you believe that correlates?
Well, when it comes to farming in nature, it's about due care and attention in terms of how you treat the earth and how you plant it and everything after in terms of organic food and all that. I think that has given Ms. Brodie a chance to slow down a little bit and breathe instead of the constant busy bee of the city life, as to which also Exotic has been a part of. It's been stressful, and also recently where we have been to some extent under threat, and we've managed to settle it down a little bit, and it will help, I believe.
Okay. Are you a qualified psychiatrist?
No, sir.
Okay, dokie. So how can you comment on whether something will help someone's mental state?
It's based on how they change in terms of from they were before. I would suggest if you take a nice walk up Mount Josiah, you will feel
If
the
I
same
could just
difference.
object, Your Honour, the court order has been signed by Judge Redcage. I don't believe the validation of his credibility should be questioned here.
The court will agree. The court agrees. The objection will be sustained.
Oh yeah.
Received, Your Honour. No further questions for myself.
Any recross examination?
That's all, Your Honour.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes,
Noble.
sir.
You may be seated. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, what do I address him as?
Your Honor. If you could, Mr. Solo, just open the door.
Oh, apologies.
All right. All right, I'll just give it a moment for. All right. What's your next piece?
All right. Obviously, we do have the community service. However, I don't have any statements from Mr. Ethan Walker, the senior ranger that was in charge of it, as he has flown out. However, I do believe there is one last witness that myself and Mr. Avian Solar should both have a chance to ask, and that is my client Rachie Brody. So I would like to call her up to stand.
Understood.
Your Honor, as already mentioned, before we move on to Rachel, but I want to make a obviously he was into the last minute, so I didn't get a chance to object for, but object to Eve Walker as a witness anyway, as a conflict of interest, as I believe he's part of Ingram Legal also.
Right, but he's also the lead of my frickin' community service.
Your Honor, I think that should be a bit disregarded, as Ethan is not very active within Ingram Legal, and his duties of a ranger come before. That on top of that, I have made sure to stay away from any sort of community service related issues with Rachie, as so the conflict of interest issue does not become prevalent.
Understood. At this point in time, understood. At this point in time, the court will. At this point in time, the court will.
Let me go.
Sorry, one moment. At this point in time, given the potential for a conflict of interest, the objection will be sustained.
What? But my dog stood on a bee.
But with that in mind, should we call forth Miss Brody?
Yes, please, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Brody. Miss Brody, could you take the stand?
Hello, my lovely.
Hello, Rachie. How are you?
All right, Miss Brody. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Of course I do.
All right, you may begin.
Okay. Miss Rachie, can you describe your mental state at the time of these incidents?
I was going through quite a bad patch. I can't really remember most of it, to be fair. I wouldn't say it was very stable.
Okay. And what have you changed since your time in remand?
So I did a spiritual detox with the shaman tribe of the Two Hoot clan. And since then I haven't touched any drugs. I've been doing my community service. Been pretty good. I feel like I've turned it around again, you know.
Yep. Can you explain the role of your supervisor, Chris Noble, in your recovery?
Yeah. So he's been pretty.
Objection, Honor. Your Honor, relevance. I don't see how it's relevant what she's done since the incidents and the offences in question in relation to this.
As you know, Your Honor, the remand was put in place because of this court case, as she was let go on bail on multiple occasions, as there were 3 cases. Obviously, when the 4th came to bench trial, Judge Redcage had said that she would be put in remand in regard to this case. That would be leading up if she was caught again. So I believe it has things to everything kind of connects fully to do with that. Judge Redcage didn't want to add any more report IDs onto this case, as there were 3 already.
Understood. At this time, the objection will be overruled. the defendant's rehabilitative potential is a factor for this court to consider when determining sentencing.
Okay. Rachel, I'll ask again. Can you explain the role of your supervisor, Chris Noble, in your recovery?
Yeah, so Mr. Noble is the one that took us on the spiritual detox. Since then, he's had us participating in cleaning up rivers and stuff, making sure that I've been staying clean and having positive thoughts. And yeah, I think without him, I wouldn't have done as well.
Okay. What has your community service involved then, and how have you engaged with it?
So I've done some free medical. I helped the people of Los Santos with injuries with the Rangers. I went on patrol with the Rangers. I cleaned up some rivers. We went and checked on the wildlife, checked for hunters. It's been quite productive.
Okay. We'll move on for obviously rehab and community service, and we'll move on to the actual charges at hand. During the incident of 56119, which you're aware, why did you run from the officers during this incident?
I have a really, really bad past with the officers in the city. A lot of them use unnecessary force and scare us quite a bit. Once I realised that they weren't gonna, be overly aggressive and stuff, I came down, I spoke to them, I was very peaceful. I don't hurt people.
How did you feel when you saw the police approaching in that situation?
Oh, I was terrified.
Were you aware of the red lights you went through?
I was, but I did check. Nothing was coming to ensure it was safe. I do believe I only went through one. And then I would have took a left. And then I pulled the vehicle over and got out of the vehicle.
Okay. Did you intend to cause harm or drive recklessly?
No. I'm a bad driver. I'm not a dangerous driver.
Yeah. Looking back, how do you feel about your actions that day?
Which deal we're on about here?
So when you've been chased by the officer, you've gone up the ladder, and then you've said something, and then
if there hadn't been so many all shouting at us and stuff, I think I would have reacted a bit differently. But like I say, once I realised that they were sounding not aggressive, I believe I was quite calm. I can't really remember, but I do believe I was calm and.
Okay. Moving on to the day of the biting of the fingers. What do you remember about the situation with PC Arlo Williams?
I remember we went to pick up a prescription at the pharmacy. Then we were leaving. That's when Mr. Arlo ran it with all, and I just tried to run away. And then the next thing I know, he was down, and I noticed he had really little chunky, like, cocktail sausage fingers. And something in us just told us to have a nibble.
Okay. Can you describe the environment at the time?
It was very stressful. There was people running everywhere.
Okay, and why did you react the way that you did?
I believe I only punched one officer once, and that was because I was just being swarmed by them. I'm not violent.
Okay. Did you intend? Panicked. Oh, sorry. Okay. Did you intend to cause serious harm to the officer?
No.
Okay, and do you regret what happened?
Of course I do. That's no way to act. I was on drugs. I was drunk.
Okay,
I'd accept to go around eating people. It's not on.
Yeah. How would you handle things differently now if this situation were to reoccur?
Well, I don't think it would because, like I say, I've been like 2 weeks off the fentanyl now, and the other stuff. But I've been working a lot on my anger and how to control it. And when I get hungry, I should eat people food, not people.
Yeah. Now, in relation to the human remains that they found on you, how can you explain how you came into possession of the body parts found in you on multiple occasions?
So the first one was me friend overdosed on fentanyl, and she didn't want a family to find out that's the way she'd went. You know, she'd been living on the streets for a long time. So I meant to bury her. I may have ate a little, but I was planning on burying the most of it. You know.
Yep. Did you have?
I'm not even really sure why I ate it. Just did.
Okay. Did you have any intention of using them in a criminal way?
No. Like I say, she was passed. I think it was more out of panic. I didn't know how to get rid of the body, so I tried to eat a bit of it.
Okay. What do you say to those who assume possession means involvement in a serious crime?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so what do you say to those who assume possession means involvement in a serious crime? So obviously that is in regards to you possessing, and then Mr. Avian Solar saying that there is murder.
Oh, I would never murder anyone.
Objection,
I'm
Your
not
Honour.
a violent person.
I don't believe I ever said murder.
That is what it says on the charge sheet.
I would never harm anyone. I've been arrested, unfortunately, several times.
Yep.
I'm not a violent person. I may panic and run sometimes, but once I calm down, even when I'm irate, it's more of a flee kind of situation. It's not a stand and fight.
Sorry. Have you ever consumed human remains, just for the record?
Yes.
Okay. How do you respond to the suggestion that this reflects dangerous behavior?
I mean, it doesn't, because I've never tried to eat someone alive. The situation at the pharmacy was I was irate. It was so much was happening. I was on drugs and alcohol. I was out of control, but I've made steps to change that now.
Okay. What do you want the court to understand about you as a person?
That everyone goes through a difficult time. Fair enough, not everyone then starts eating parts of people. But like I say, I have been arrested a lot. And in all my charges, I'm never violent. I may have mechanic tools on us, but I do not brandish them as weapons. They're tools. Like I say, I'm just not violent. Hungry, but not violent.
Okay. And what are your plans moving forward to ensure you don't reoffend?
Well, with my business, Auto Exotic, I have stepped down to reduce stress. I've gave the business away to another employee. I've been staying mostly at my house up in the hills and spend a lot of time cleaning the rivers up in the Tonga hills. I just want a peaceful life. I want to put all the craziness behind us.
Okay, and how were your 9,000 months spent in remand like?
Absolute hell on earth. The access to drugs in the prison is ridiculous. I was given more drugs in there than outside. The conditions in there were awful. There's nowhere to get a drink unless you're lucky and you might get one out of a smoothie. But I do like to think that I spent the 9 months contemplating. I do like to think that I've changed.
Sorry, the 9 months, did you say?
9,000 months. Sorry.
Yep. If given a second chance, how will you prove that you are on the right path?
Well, I mean, I could say, oh well, I'm gonna do everything and be a great model citizen, and like I am, but I just want to live my life peacefully, you know, just quietly, out of the way, not getting into trouble, just living my best little life.
Okay. Thank you, Rachie. Thank you, Your Honor. That's all from me. That's all the questions I had for Miss Rachie.
Understood. Understood, Sergeant.
Hello, Rachie. How are you? Do you feel nervous at all?
Yeah, quite nervous. But
I
hello,
was
my lovely.
just going to have a conversation, okay? We've had them before. I'm not going to ask you anything too taxing, okay? So, I'm just going to ask you to cast your mind back, please, to the Saturday, the 8th of February, the incident I referred to being with the black and green coloured pony van. Do you remember that at all? You were with Kenzo at the time, I believe.
I'm always with Kenzo.
All right, fair enough.
Is this when it was down by the red car park, I believe?
It is, yes, on Vespucci Boulevard.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to just talk to me about that, please? Do you remember what happened?
We'd pulled over to fix the car, because what we'll know, I'm a bad driver, not a dangerous driver. Then we hopped back in, and that was it. We were swarmed. I got a little bit nervous, and I did drive off. But I was very careful. I indicated. I wouldn't say I speeded. And the time that you say that I was driving backwards on the highway is, I was having terrible headaches. And I did say to you multiple times, don't get too close. I don't want to hit you. Do you know what I don't want to hit you guys. And then I pulled over, got out, put my hands up. Now that was it, really. I believe.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Obviously, so you've got myself and the other officer there with me, and we surround your vehicle, and then you were the driver. Is that correct, of the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. You drive forwards and you hit his car. Why did you hit his car?
I'm not really sure. I could have been trying to reverse. I've not long just repassed me driving test. I'm a bit nervous in situations. Like I say, I'm not the best driver, but I am taking steps to improve me driving. But like I say, I'm not dangerous. I'm careful.
If you're careful, why would you drive forward into a stationary police vehicle with its lights activated?
I do believe I was trying to reverse. I would never intentionally hit you. Just like when I believe there was a motorbike in that pursuit, and I stated multiple times to the driver of the bike and other officers to please keep the bike back. I don't want to hurt anyone. It's not my intentions ever.
During the pursuit that followed, did you fail to stop at any red lights?
And there might be one or two. I'm not 100% sure. It's a while back now.
Okay, why?
I was fearing because of the officers swarming us. Like I say, I've not had good interactions with the police in the past.
Yeah. Did you at one point during the shoot go up the off ramp of the Olympic Freeway, joining the Olympic Freeway, so the wrong way up the freeway ramp?
No, I believe I went the right way up.
Okay. What if I was to tell you categorically you did go up the wrong way?
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Why do you think you'd have done that?
Oh, probably all the stress. It would have been panic. Like I say, I've just repassed my test. After taking a considerable amount of driving lessons from police.
Okay.
I do tend to stress under situations and panic a lot.
Okay. Do you think joining the high traffic, high speed roads such as a motorway up the wrong lane of travel would have a risk of injury or damage to persons or property?
Yes, but once I realised that I was in the wrong lane, I did put my hazards on. Luckily, the traffic was low, or I'd have just pulled over to the side and just got the car recovered. So I did feel it was safe to join. All I had to do was spin around at the top, but unfortunately, I had a slight issue with the clutch in the vehicle, and I had a little oopsie daisy.
You don't believe it's dangerous to go up the wrong way up a slip road?
Of course I do, but like I say, I didn't believe I was. The situation was very intense. Like I say, I indicated all times. I put my hazards on. I'm not dangerous.
At the top of the slip ramp, you were ordered out of the vehicle by myself. Do you recall that?
A little bit.
A little bit? Well, tell me what you recall then, please.
I remember being swarmed again and just all of you shouting at us. And I panicked again. I believe I apologized for the little oopsie daisy that I just had. And then I continued to drive.
Were you pulled out of the vehicle at all?
I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of going to tell you, I smashed your window and then pulled you out of the vehicle, and you got back into the vehicle. Why did you get back into the vehicle?
Probably because a man was dragging us out of it, and I was terrified.
Richie, you've known me for a while. You're aware I'm a police officer, is that correct?
Just because you're a police officer one day, does not mean that you haven't went rogue or something. I've seen it happen. It's terrifying. There's quite a bit of corruption, and I'm not gonna lie, you people terrify me. But even so, like you say, I know who you are. You know who I am. I've never been violent towards yourself, have I?
I don't recall, unfortunately. Apologies, Ron. Can I quickly grab some food, please? I'm in quite severe need.
I can show you out there if you want to.
Go, please. 197.
Could I also grab some food and drinks, if that's okay?
If people want to take a quick 2 minutes to grab food and drink, they may. Court is briefly adjourned.
Thank you, Ron. My apologies.
All right.
How filling these will be, but there you go.
Thank you.
Are you all right, Miss Brodie?
Yeah.
Okay. Please don't do push-ups in the court.
Fucking hope so. I'm falling asleep here.
Hey Kenzo, one of these flags in EA, honestly, stunning.
That's down to Ben now.
Ben!
The dumb question, yes.
Well, I don't mean this actual flag, I mean one like it.
Alright. Let's continue.
Okay. So, Miss Brody, you were obviously eventually you were stopped and arrested and searched. Do you remember what you were found in possession of at the time?
Weed. I imagine it would have been weed. I think that. Was that it that time?
Okay. So you were found in possession of 2 magic mushrooms, small amount of ketamine, some fentanyl, bag of indica buds, a joint, a human finger. Okay. Do you recall that all?
Yes.
Okay. So obviously we've got some controlled substances there. Had you consumed any of those on the day?
Yes, I do believe so.
Okay. Do you remember how long before you were driving and before the incident you consumed them?
Couldn't tell you.
Oh, you believe you were possibly under the influence of them still?
What now?
No, on the while the incident was happening.
It's possible, yeah.
It's possible. Do you believe they may have impaired your driving ability?
No. By that time, I don't think it would have been, no.
Yeah, why do you believe this?
Because it had been a while, I believe. I couldn't give you an exact amount of time, but I do think it was a while.
Yes, mate. Hour, 2 hours, just an estimation.
Would have been about 5, 6, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Okay. You're also found in possession of a human finger. Is that the finger you've already alluded to from the fentanyl overdose body?
Yes, I do believe so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Why didn't you see that the body of your friend received a proper and decent burial?
So like I said, our parents would have been absolutely heartbroken if they'd have found out that she'd overdosed. They'd put her through rehab a few times. They believed that she was clean, so I believed giving her a private burial, myself, it would save the family a lot of hurt. Fortunately, I didn't get round to that because, the police took her away from us.
Okay. So when did your friend pass away?
Maybe 2-3 days before. I'm not 100%. She was dead when I found her.
And when did you find her? What date?
I'm not too sure what the date was.
You know roughly how many days before the incident?
Maybe a day at the most. It hadn't been too long. Maybe 2 days. I'm not really sure.
So we're going to just move forward right now. We're going to move forward to the 10th of February. So the instance where you were on the ladder. Okay? So obviously you have already explained a little bit about that. Just a couple more questions. So are you aware it was the police that to pull you over?
No. like Mr. Noble says, I've had multiple threats, and you and everyone else in here knows that a lot of police cars get stolen. I do believe that the officers were in plain clothing. So no, I wasn't aware. I thought I was being chased, and then when I was aware, and like I say, I realised that there weren't some, you know, baldy that stole a car or a police member going absolutely rogue. I spoke to them very pleasantly, I do believe.
Talk about while you're driving that incident. How do you think your driving was?
Bad but not dangerous.
Okay. Yeah, to elaborate on that, please.
I believe I may have ran one red light, but like I say, that was before I knew it was actual police officers chasing us. And I believe I would have turned left, and then I pulled over the vehicle, and I got out and ran for me little ginger life. But yeah, I wasn't violent or anything. I was just scared.
Okay. Let's talk about the speed you were doing while you're driving. Are you aware what the speed limit is in that area of the city?
Yes.
What's the speed limit then?
I think it's 30 miles per hour.
It is, yes, and obviously it's already been discussed that you were doing between 70 and 80 miles an hour, more than twice the speed limit. Do you believe that's a safe thing to do?
I do not, but I also don't believe that I was doing that speed. Like I say, I only went past one red light and then took a left. My uncle's car is an absolute banger. It wouldn't have got to that speed that quick.
Okay, your uncle's car, is that the vehicle you're in?
Yeah. I call him my uncle, but he's not actually my uncle.
Who's the individual you pulled out of the vehicle?
That was someone that had borrowed my uncle's car without permission.
Okay, why did you not report that to the police?
Because I was running for my life at that moment in time.
So obviously, you're driving off, you go for the red light and you have a collision with a black and colour Sultan. Do you remember that at all?
What? I do not know. No.
Okay, so you do have a collision with a black Sultan at the junction of Occupation Avenue and Alder Street after you've gone through the red light. You don't believe you going through the red light contributed to that collision occurring?
No.
Why not?
Because I do recall that the car that hit us was doing excessive speed. You're talking like 80 plus. That came flying down the hill. If it was a green light or not, that car wasn't going to stop.
You qualified to assess someone's speed?
No, but I know the difference between 30 mile an hour and 70, which you do on highways and freeways.
You've said before in your testimony when you were going through red lights, you checked both directions to make sure it was safe to do so, but you didn't see this car approaching.
No, because like I say, it was doing insane amounts of speed. You've seen the hill in which it was coming down. They literally fly over that hill, doing excessive amounts of speed. So when I did look, he wasn't there, and then all of a sudden, I was being impacted by a dangerous driver.
So you believe them driving over double the speed in a 30 mile an hour was dangerous, but you don't believe yours was?
Like I say, I believe I was doing a maximum of 40.
Okay, finally we're going to just move on to the last incident that occurred. That will be the 12th of February 2024. Do you recall what happened on that day at all?
nor could you remind us.
Okay, so this is the incident with the biting of the fingers outside the pharmacy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No, okay. So specifically, we're going to call you. Obviously, you have said you don't remember much of that. You said also that you were a bit drunk at the time. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, but I was on drugs as well.
Remember what you'd taken or how much you drunk?
I drunk about a litre of whiskey with my bestie, Kenzo. Couldn't really tell you how much fentanyl. Then we were on my way to the pharmacy to pick up a prescription, and then we were surrounded.
Remember everything that happened after the surrounding, but before the biting of the officer's fingers?
Right, why am I hearing a blowtorch?
Oh, that doesn't sound fucking safe.
Sorry, Mr. Avian Solar, did you just ask about the surrounding? Because I believe I would raise an objection to that, as it has already been asked and answered.
However, I believe she said she couldn't remember much of it, so I'm just going to clarify, is there anything more that she's remembered since fresh in the incident?
Either way, I would like to raise an objection to that, as it has been asked.
Okay. So we'll then go on to the fact that obviously you see these officers' fingers, start biting them, and believe you bit them off. Is that correct?
Has already been asked and answered, Your Honour. Objection to that.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
All right, question has been answered, but
What happened to those fingers afterwards?
So I didn't mean to bite them off. I was just having a nibble. Afterwards, another officer asked for the fingers back so he could get them reattached. So I did give them these fingers back. Like I say, I didn't mean it.
Don't believe loss of fingers would be quite a serious injury to someone?
Yeah, but they weren't lost. I gave them back.
Did you agree the injury was still sustained?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That's all from myself, Your Honour.
all right. Anything on recrossed?
No, Your Honour.
All right. Does anyone want to take a break to get food, water, or anything, and then we'll move to closing statements?
Prosecution's good, Your Honour.
We're all okay.
Sergeant White, can you hear me?
All right then. Closing statements. Prosecution, go.
Your Honour, this has been quite a long and protracted case. Obviously, it's quite a complex case with lots of issues, lots of charges, and lots of points to cover from both sides. Clear from this that the defence is raising two key areas of defence. The first being that of intoxication. Now, intoxication is a defence in law for specific crimes only in the case of voluntary intoxication. If the defence can prove that the defendant was so intoxicated they could not form the mens rea for the offence, in which case it has been seen as standard practice to charge a lesser offence, that of a basic intent, and find that it is reckless to ascertain the intoxication than committing the offence. The other possible avenue of defence they've taken is the route of insanity, which is defined by the McNaughton rule. The defect of reason caused by a disease of the mind, in which the defendant did not know no matter what they were doing or understand what they were doing was wrong. This defence, I believe, fails on the defect of reason. There is no medical evidence outright proving, on the balance of probabilities, that the defendant was suffering from a disease of the mind at the time of the offences were committed. Medical evidence has been submitted saying it is saying that that cannot be proven and that the defendant is able to stand trial and be held accountable for their actions. Apologies, is likely to be able to be held stand trial and be accountable for their actions. In relation to the charge, there are two big charges here, main charges here that are being contested: the dangerous driving and the failure for the proper and decent burial of a body. Now, the defendant has admitted that the body is of a friend of hers and that she took it because she didn't want the family to be distressed by the fact that they'd overdosed and killed themselves. She admitted to eating part of that body. Now, I believe that is preventing the lawful and, if nothing else, the decent burial of that body because she has desecrated it by eating it. She was in possession of it, she believed, for 1 to 2 days before it was taken off her by the police. It does not appear that she made any attempts to contact the coroner or the NHS to see this body safely put in the ground as it should have been. In relation to the charge of dangerous driving, dangerous driving is driving that falls well below the standard of the careful and competent person. The client did drive the wrong way up the slip road onto the Olympic Freeway. This was dangerous and posed a serious risk of harm to people on the freeway, the defendant, and the officers who followed her. The defendant intentionally, I believe, ran police vehicles to escape them after they boxed her in on that freeway, and also failed to stop multiple red lights on 2 different pursuits. The culmination of this is dangerous. Now, there is case law that has been established that speed alone is not enough for it to be dangerous. The culmination of all the factors, and then including the speed, is enough to constitute dangerous driving. And where this has been a long case, thank you very much for your time and consideration in this matter.
Thank you. Defense.
Your Honour, thank you for your time. Thank you, members of the court, for this long and lengthy process. I would just like to start off with the accusation of insanity as a defense on behalf of my client. It is degrading to my client, to say so simply. The fact of the matter is she was under influence and so could not make decisions due to her mental capacity at that point. That does not constitute the assumption of insanity. We have never said that. We have never tried to even ascertain that that was the case. We come before you today essentially to consider not only the actions of Miss Rachie Brody, but also the circumstances surrounding her mental health, her remorse, and her progress towards rehabilitation. Again, nothing to do with insanity. My client is not insane. She is just someone that has merely fallen predator to the usage of drugs. Throughout this trial, we've seen evidence of Miss Brody's behaviour on February 12th during the tragic altercation with Officer Williams. Yes, there were actions that cannot be overlooked, but we must ask ourselves, why did this happen? Was this a calculated action, or was it a moment of distress for an individual who was clearly struggling with a mental state at that time? Again, to reiterate, under the influence of drugs, not due to her own personal mental well-being. It is all due to drugs, which she has stopped since her rehab, as we have heard from our witness, Chris Noble. The defendant has expressed deep regret for her actions. We have presented testimony from a rehabilitation supervisor, Mr. Chris Noble, who has seen firsthand the efforts Miss Brody has made since her release, efforts to regain control of her avoid substances and re-enter society as a law-abiding citizen. She has actively engaged in community service, worked in jobs, and shown significant improvement. This is not the behavior of someone who is hardened or without remorse, but of someone who is genuinely trying to rebuild their life. We must also take into account the testimony about her mental health. Miss Brody has openly acknowledged her struggles, and yes, we've heard the prosecution attempt to dismiss the idea of mental health issues by calling it insanity. However, the facts presented today point to a different story. From an initial encounter with law enforcement, where she stated she was scared during the pursuit in incident 56119 to the erratic behavior during the biting incident in 56182. There is a pattern that cannot simply be ignored. Her mental state at the time of the incident was compromised. Again, at the time of the incident, this does not reflect on her as a person as she is today standing before us. And this must be considered when determining guilt and, more importantly, appropriate sentences. Miss Brodie has already served a considerable amount of time, 9,000 months in remand. That is a long, long, long time. I do understand, while, this is not, been sentenced regarding these charges, it is still 9,000 months in remand, nonetheless, in accordance to these charges, for similar charges even. The extended period of incarceration has undoubtedly, while remand is separate from sentencing, again, it must be taken into consideration. She has already experienced the harsh conditions of jail where access to rehab services is limited, and unfortunately, substances that hinder her recovery are readily available. It is a well-known fact that the prisons can sometimes serve as environments that perpetuate destructive behavior rather than facilitate recovery. We must consider whether further incarceration would truly serve to rehabilitate Miss Brodie, or whether it would in fact set her back in her efforts to reintegrate into society as a responsible, contributing individual. This case is more than just the actions that occurred on that day. This case is about understanding the context in which these actions took place. We ask the court to consider Miss Brodie's mental health struggles, the progress she has made since being under supervision, and the genuine remorse she has shown. Again, would just like to reiterate for the last time that we are not saying that Miss Brodie is insane. We are simply saying that she has fallen to drugs. And now she's in a fight to get her life back, which she is greatly winning. Jail time, as we know, is a severe measure, but for someone who is actively working to better themselves and rebuild their life, it may not be the most effective path forward. Instead, we urge the court to consider alternatives that focus on rehabilitation, such as further community service or other forms of reinstitution, which will not only allow Miss Brodie to continue her progress, but also ensure that the community as a whole benefits from her continued efforts. A more focused, restorative approach would allow Miss Brodie to make amends in a way that contributes meaningfully to both her recovery and society's well-being. That's all I have to say, Your Honor. Thank you for your time. Thank you everyone in the court that has stayed for this case. I know it was long, I know it was tiring, but it is something that has had to be done. That's all from me, Your Honor. Thank you.
Right. Okay. So, during the course of the case, I've had a chance to gather my thoughts for sentencing, and I'm going to say this. Firstly, I would like to thank the lawyers on both sides. This has been a lengthy case. It has taken a long time to get it to this stage, and both of you have argued well, objected well, and and I would say this court case has demonstrated very high standards of professionalism on both sides. We haven't had any of the personal attacks or any of the other, sniping that can at times affect court proceedings. For this, I am grateful. Now, to move on to my sentencing remarks, I must consider several factors when passing sentence. I must first consider general deterrence. Specifically, I must consider other people who may who may be tempted to follow in Miss Brodie's footsteps. I must impose a sentence sufficient to deter that sort of action. I must consider specific deterrence. I must impose the kind of sentence appropriate to deter Miss Brodie from further actions of this sort. Miss Brodie has also pled guilty to voluntarily pled guilty at the start of this hearing to several of these offences, or to several offences. So there is going to be a component. However, this component is mitigated by the fact she pled early in the proceeding. Now, the court is also aware of the context of what had happened, of the fact Miss Brodie is struggling with drugs, and that prison may not be the best place for Miss Brodie. At the same time, throughout this hearing, a consistent trend emerged of Miss Brodie denying and failing to take accountability for her actions. It's not just I'm not a bad driver. I'm not a dangerous driver. I'm a bad driver. I didn't mean to take a little bite. I just took a little nibble. This was a recurring theme, and I feel it falls upon this court to impose some sentence that suggests to Miss Brodie the gravity of these actions. At the same time, the court must consider whether jail is the best place for Miss Brodie, because my learned friend made correct comments about the nature of jail as a possible breeding ground and the potential impact it may have on Miss Brodie's recovery. To that end, the court is going to impose the following sentence on Miss Brodie. Miss Brodie is to be incarcerated for 5,000 months in a secure treatment facility. She is to undergo a mental health evaluation so that her needs and treatment requirements can be properly assessed. She is to further undergo screening when she leaves secure confinement, that she may, and she is to undergo further rehabilitative therapy with the NHS.
Your Honor, if I may ask a question.
You may.
What is this secure facility that you're referring to?
The secure facility is the psychiatric ward. I believe it's at Bolingbroke, but it is not part of general population. The court is going to allow Miss Brodie to have visitors to the court, visitors during the course of her confinement, as it is recognised that just putting her in solitary confinement may, leave her only with her demons for company, and that is not a situation that any of us wish to inflict upon her. However, this court is going to order that I believe it's Kenzo Lowry is prohibited from visiting her during this time.
Fuck you.
Objection! Objection! No!
Let me out of this fucking courtroom now.
Objection!
What a load of fucking bullshit. Fuck you, Avian Solar. Gonk.
Please speak with your client.
Yes, Your Honor, so sorry.
And urge her to refrain from similar outbursts in future.
Yeah, don't do that. He's gonna do you for contempt of court, mate, for 20,000 once. We don't want that.
That concludes the sentencing portion of these remarks.
It's okay. Think about it this way, Richie. It's only 5,000 months.
Further details will be written up as and when.
Apologies, Your Honor. Can I just ask a quick question?
Yes.
Just for the avoidance of doubt in relation to the charges that were pled not guilty to the dangerous driving and the preventing lawful indecent burial, how has the court found in those matters?
Court has found guilty.
Thank you, Your
Indecent burial is fine. That's not bad. But dangerous driving, it's not that deep. It's fine, Richie. It's completely.
Any further
fine.
questions?
You were thinking 10,000 months in the.
Oh, Your Honor.
This is better than that. Yeah, you're not banned from your license, mate. It's not banning your
Ms.
license.
Patel.
Yes. Your Honor.
Yes,
could
if
you
there are
come
any
forward?
questions.
Could you come forward to the stand?
That's brilliant.
I literally texted Barry to let me do it.
Hey, but what about Kenzo? How am I gonna make sure that he's okay? Fucking Kenzo! Kenzo!
Shit, no, I don't. Fuck. Hold on. Let me see if I can get some.
God, I don't know how to.
Vending machines outside.
So, upon further consideration,
Listen.
the court will rescind its earlier provision in regard to Mr. Lowry. Will allow supervised visits.
Sorry, I got a little bit excited. My bad.
Will allow supervised visits by Mr. Lowry. Any further questions?
No, that's perfect, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. This case is hereby adjudicated. You are all free to. You are all barring Miss. You are all barring Miss. The defendant free to leave. Group 6, if you could.
Oh my god.
Remand. Group 6, if you could take her away.